Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. I got up early. I barbecued my chicken breast. Yeah, just a second. All right. So I was going through college. I was updating the games. We can go through the lines. Today we've got two games. We've got the Army 6.5, 39.5 against the Navy, and we've got South Alabama 7.5, 51.5 against Western. So let me verify those lines. And it's hard because the covers like jumped to the Bulls and they forgot about Army Navy for some reason. So on one hand, we've got Army still 6.5, 39. This game's at 3:00, and then we got South Alabama. Well, let's check that. I don't want to use BetMGM because I hate BetMGM. And we got South Alabama 8.5. South Alabama's 8.5 and 58, 57.5. So Army Navy, we know, is a big rivalry. Now, initially, we play the game under every year, but that's with the different offenses. Now you have much more scoring in the game. Navy's the B team, 23 defense. Army's the A team, 15, and just beat the shit out of the Tulane, who is a very good team. I did play this game with the Rams, as I told you. If you buy the pros, you will get this game with it. The second game is South Alabama, 8.5, 58. And South Alabama's a B team, 25 defense. Western's a over team with a 31. This total is 57.5. So big total. Let's check. Where's this? The Crampton Bowl. The weather, 8:00 is 56 degrees and cloudy and not much wind. I don't know where the Crampton Bowl is. It ain't in Michigan, that's for sure. Anyway, so if we check injuries here, I can't even check injury. Well, I can't check injuries because I don't have it on covers for the Army Navy game. Again, covers isn't updating their injuries. The South Alabama quarterback Lopez, questionable as of December 2nd. And so it really is pretty useless. This is November 30th. So again, can't get much. We can go to the quarterback. And Lopez did play against Texas State on the 29th. So when was this injury? The injury is December 2nd. Okay, so he got injured after the game, which I don't know. I assume if they're favored by 8.5, he's playing. Western has Wolf. He's okay. It's a weird, they lost to Central Michigan 16-14. They beat Eastern Michigan 26-18. Bowling Green beat them 31-13. Northern Illinois beat them 42, and they scored, well, everybody against Kent, they scored 50. Well, I guess if Lopez is healthy as it looks, again, you don't know the bowl game. In this type of bowl game, I mean, you're still in regular season. I'm sticking with the Army-Navy play. I think that's a better play than to guess on this one. Anyway, let's go through the lines. So that's today. Then on the 17th, which is Tuesday, all right, Tuesday we got Memphis. Let's call it 5-59. Initial line was 3. And 56 up to 59. Memphis is an 18 with the 22 defense. West Virginia is an over team with the 31 defense. West Virginia is a lot like what team were Atlanta Falcons. They can score, but their defense has always been their problem. They have a weak defense. Memphis, very good offense. Did beat Western Kentucky. Or they beat. Who did they beat? Memphis beat Tulane. Yeah, so Tulane was a good win. And West Virginia, their last game, they got killed by Texas Tech 52-15. They beat UCF. They lost to Baylor, so I won't go through all of it, but a good offense. Memphis should, that's why they're favored. Now, the key here is are other players playing? Alex gave me a link to check who's playing and not and stuff like that. I think for these guys, yeah. Michigan, Washington, are they not playing? The non-playoff teams. But these teams, I would imagine everybody's playing. I mean, Seth Hennigan, the quarterback, wants to show up. So I think they'll be good. Memphis is the better team, but they're moving up a little in class against West Virginia. James Madison, Western Kentucky. I would assume all their players play. James Madison is 8.5, 52. Western Kentucky is the B team with the 24 defense, and James Madison's an A team with the 20. Should be a real good game. 8.5 looks like a bit high of a number. And a total of 52. Sometimes these teams light it up. Sometimes they don't score much. So we'll have to look more into it. So this is like phase one. I got the games. I've got the teams ranked. And then now I'm going through the lines. Then we'll go through probably today, tomorrow. We'll go through the injuries and whether we can do a couple days. Like, when Tuesday comes, we'll check weather on it. I do have a few really strong plays I've already kind of spotted, and we will go from there. Let's see. Cal and UNLV. Cal 1.5, 49.5. This is this will be Wednesday. Cal's a very good team, a B team, 22 defense. Vegas, we thought was a good team, and then they faded against Boise. So Vegas is an A team statistically. I think they're a B. Both 22 defenses, total 1.5, and let's call it 50. Do we get a lot of points or do we not get a lot of points? We will see. That's what we'll investigate. Georgia Southern, Sam Houston. Georgia Southern is an over team, 27 defense. Sam Houston, another team with a 20. And Georgia Southern is 6 and 40. It's now up to 49, which I'm a little surprised by that because Sam Houston's a really strong defensive team. So to have a game go up, it's when it should go down, I don't agree with. Ohio and Jacksonville State. Ohio is an over team with the 20. No, I think I got this backwards. Jacksonville State is the over team with the 25 defense, and Ohio is the under team. Well, I got them as a B team with the 17 defense. They're the ones I believe that beat Miami of Ohio to win the MAC Conference Championship. Let's double check there. Yeah, they beat Miami of Ohio 38-3. So Jacksonville State won their conference, beating Western Kentucky. They're an over team, 25 defense. Ohio is a B team with a very strong defense, a 17 defense. This is the antithesis. You've got strong offense versus strong defense, and normally strong defense wins. Tulane in Florida, which should be a good game. This is now the 20th. This is next Friday. I don't understand these Friday night games. Like, people aren't home Friday. You're working, you go out to dinner, you go swimming or whatever. Saturday, you're home, you're not working. It's football day and Sunday. At least for me, I'm not like all these Friday games. Well, this is a 3:30 game. I'm still working next week, although I might work from home, but we will see. So Tulane is an A team with a 19 defense, although that's what Army just beat. And Florida is an E team with the 24. Florida did beat Ole Miss, played Georgia pretty well. Most of their guys should be healthy now. So we got Florida's an E team with the 24, but lately they're probably more like a B team and probably not a 24, but a 20 or something, the way they handle Ole Miss. So this is a very good game. Florida is favored by 14 and 49, and I think that's a big number against Tulane. Tulane will come to play. Florida, their Langway, he'll play. He's not going to sit down for that, for the NFL. So I don't know too many Florida players that are going to sit down. They didn't have too many. All right, now we get into the 4 playoff games. This is next Friday. Why were you playing a playoff game on a Friday night? Friday at 8, you got Indiana at Notre Dame. Both are 8 teams, both with 14 defenses. We've got Notre Dame 7.5, Indiana and over under a 51.5. The only way I can really explain this game is I go to the Indiana Ohio State game, which is really a 17-15 game. Okay. You've got to ignore the punt return because it was wet there. And okay, Ohio State got it, but it's a fluke. And then the guy fumbled the snap on the other punt, which led to their touchdowns. So you take those 2 away. What did the offense of Ohio State? Did they run up and down the field on Indiana? Absolutely not. They only got 17 points. Yes, it's a block. You've got the punt return, but that's not Will Howard driving them down. They didn't really drive them down. They didn't really dominate Indiana that way. Indiana scored the first touchdown, and then I don't know what happened, and that's it, Greg and John. And so I don't know. Now, let's look at Notre Dame's schedule. Talk about a team that didn't beat anybody. Best team they beat was A&M, who, And the Army, I guess. The Army, I think, is the best team they beat, especially after what Army did to Tulane. Um, I'm gonna have fun with my silver. Um, yeah, they're a little smaller than the casino chip. All right, so Notre Dame didn't really. Okay, they beat USC by 10 on two pick sixes. Who did they really play? Louisville, I think, was the best team they played, except for A&M. They lost to Northern Illinois. Indiana only lost to Ohio State, and it wasn't, you know, it was kind of close. And then Ohio State scored with 10 seconds left to make it look like, oh, we really beat them. Yeah. Oh, okay. Good luck with that one, Ohio State. What happened against Michigan again? I don't think Ohio State has any heart, but anyway, here, um, yeah, I think Indiana plays them. Now we've seen Notre Dame beat Army and the Navy, right? They're on TV a lot. And then against USC scored on two pick sixes that were just bad passes. They weren't like great defensive plays. Now Notre Dame's got a great defense, a 13, and Indiana has a great defense, a 14. Ohio State couldn't score on them, right? Take away that last touchdown because it was on an onside kick, and the two off the punts. Ohio State didn't do shit. So Indiana will learn from that experience. And okay, we played Ohio State. I think Indiana can win this game. Um, they're a little bit better than Army and Navy. And USC put up points on them. I love Indiana's offense style system, and they have a good defense. Notre Dame will run it down their throat, which is what Notre Dame does. But Indiana didn't really, Michigan didn't really run it down their throat. And, they played 2015 to Michigan, and I think it'll be similar. And I hate when they say, well, who did they beat? Who did they beat? Well, who did Notre Dame beat? Oh, yeah, nobody. Texas A&M, whippy. Um, just like losing to Northern Illinois. It was a fluke. But they did lose to them. They really didn't play. And then, so that's how I look. Beating Stanford, who cares? Beating, like I said, the best team they beat was Louisville, and they needed green jerseys to do it. So I'm expecting a ball game here. Penn State and SMU. Now this goes to Saturday at noon. Penn State 8.5, 54. I mean, this is a playoff. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Why are these games on the 21st? It should be Christmas. It should be New Year's. So that goes from 12 down to 8, down to 4. And you got, when are you playing these two other games? On the Monday night after New Year's, and then the championship game, the day of the Super Bowl? Why would you play this first round games on the 21st? Play them on Christmas. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Penn State 8.5 and 54. SMU's an A team, a very strong team. Came back against Clemson. Never should have been down. Had a few turnovers. They will learn from that. Penn State, two games they played nobody. They played Ohio State, lost 20-13. Then they play Oregon and get their ass kicked, give up a ton of points. Well, guess what? SMU's got a very similar offense to Oregon. They're both A teams. SMU 21 defense, Penn State 16. Drew Allard started to run, which is very unusual. Oregon must play a lot of man-on-man, so all of a sudden Drew Allard's a runner. But that's not. Did you beat Oregon? No, because your quarterback ran. Yeah. So running quarterbacks, don't win. I think this is a close game, 8.5. Now the game's at Penn State. I don't think matters. I don't think home field matters in this once you get into these playoffs because you're playing good teams. SMU deserves it. Penn State, I don't think deserves it. Um, so 8.5. Okay, do you want to take Penn State minus 2.5? This is how you play teasers. Do I want to take them minus 2.5? Absolutely not. Don't trust them. Which means SMU and 14.5 must be the play. Um, Again, SMU, we'd have to go through their schedule to see who they play, right? Um, but I know they played some good teams. They had a better conference than the Big Ten did. Well, the Big Ten had Indiana and Ohio State and Oregon, of course. I'm not sure how good Ohio State is, but Ohio State beat Penn State, so I'm not sure why Penn State's in this thing. Um, it's a lot, you got to beat them by 14.5. I don't know. SMU can score, that's for sure. All right. Clemson, Texas 11-51.5 to Clemson. I don't know why Clemson's in here. I don't know how they won their division, why Miami wasn't in it instead of Clemson, because I guess Miami lost 2 in the conference and Clemson lost to Georgia 82-3. So let's put Clemson in against this defense. I don't think Clemson will do much. It's at Texas, doesn't really matter. I love Arch Manning runs the ball. Where did he get that from? Peyton and Eli never ran. I don't think he's a very good quarterback, but we don't know enough. He's okay. Again, he's doing this against weak defenses, so he finally gets some strong defenses. And against Georgia, he didn't show up either time. But that's not what you got with Clemson. Clemson an A team with a 22 defense, Texas an A with a 13. I don't see Texas losing this game to this team. Then we got a very good game, Tennessee and Ohio State. Tennessee beat Alabama at Tennessee. They're both A teams. Ohio State in 11, Tennessee at 14. We got Ohio State 7.5, 47. Tennessee's got a killer defense, obviously 14. Ohio State, I don't know. I watched Michigan run up and down the field on them, so I can't say. That they lost to Oregon 32-31. And then it was a bunch of, we beat Iowa 35-7. We beat Michigan State 35-7. They beat Penn State 20-13 because the quarterback fumbled at the goal line. It should have been 27-13. I don't know. Tennessee in 13. I don't like their quarterback. Go back and play volleyball. You're not a quarterback. Will Howard, I thought, was better than he is. How the hell could they lose to Michigan and be in the playoff? I just can't. I can't see this. UTSA 8.5, 55 to Coastal Carolina. This is now the 23rd, so this is the following Monday. Both teams are over with 31 defenses. 8.5, 55.5. UTSA, I love their quarterback. Coastal Carolina, I don't love their quarterback. But they score a lot. Well, maybe they're more of a running team. But they put up points. This is 2 overs and a 56 total. Fresno State, Northern Illinois 3-40.5. Northern Illinois, an under team with an 18 defense. Fresno State, an E with a 24. San Jose State, 4-62 to South Florida. South Florida is an over team with the 29 defense. San Jose State's an E with the 26 defense. Should be points in this game. Total 61. Pitt, Toledo. Pitt, 7.5 and 51.5. Call it 52. Pitt's an over team with the 26 defense when Holston is the quarterback. He was hurt. I don't know if he should be fine. Toledo, a B team with the 21 in the MAC. Does Toledo have a chance? Yeah, because Pitt's defense is kind of weak. Maybe we look at a total in this game. Rutgers, Kansas State, very good game. Rutgers an E team with the 24 defense. Kansas State a B with the 22. We've got 751 here. I always like Kansas State, although they didn't look great this year like they normally do. Arkansas State, Bowling Green. Bowling Green 750.5. Now here's one we can dig into. We got Arkansas State a W with the 32 defense, and Bowling Green's a B with the 20 defense, and the spread's only 7. I got to check this out. Why? Should be higher, but if they want to give us a game, we'll take it. Oklahoma, what are they doing in a bowl? 8.5 and 44. Terrible coach at Oklahoma. He doesn't know what he's doing offensively, and even their defense. They are an under team. They do have a 21 defense. Navy's a B with the 22. They're going to give Navy problems with their defense, but Navy, I don't know. Navy doesn't look. The Army's a much better team than Navy. I don't think Oklahoma could beat Army. Navy, we will see. They've gone to a little bit more passing, and but their defense is 22. But that's not against Oklahoma's as an SEC defense. So remember what Oklahoma did to Alabama, and then they got killed by LSU. They got killed by Tennessee. They got killed by Ole Miss. So. I don't know what happened in the Alabama game. Maybe they played better against being a home dog. Maybe they played better against option quarterbacks like Milrose. I heard Milrose was coming back. Like, Milrose, you're not going to be drafted. You're terrible. I thought he was better, but that fumble against Michigan was a telling sign. Georgia Tech, 2.5, 51.5 to Vandy. Georgia Tech an E team with the 25. Vandy's a B team with the 23. Very live dog here, Vandy. Like I said, they beat Alabama. They lost to Texas by 3. They played very well this year. They're a very strong team. I think they lost to Tennessee by a touchdown or so. But they're a good team. Georgia Tech I love. So I love Georgia Tech as a dog, and I love Vandy as a dog. So we will see. So I hate they're playing each other, motherfuckers. Texas Tech 358, down from 60. What's going on there? Against Arkansas, Texas Tech, great over team, 34 defense. Arkansas is a B with a 25. Ole Miss put up 60 on them. So not a lot of defense. Texas Tech, I wish was the dog here. I'd be all over them. I can't be all over Arkansas. I don't like their quarterback. He's more of a dual like Jefferson was for them. Syracuse, Washington State. Syracuse 7.5, 61.5. Both over teams with 28 defenses. Syracuse got the Ohio State quarterback who's looked pretty good. Again, they went to Vegas and won. Washington State, good quarterback, not so good defense. A&M USC, A&M 3.5, 51.5. I would say I don't know if SC is a strong dog or not. If Maivia plays, I think they'll stay in there. They kept coming back against Notre Dame. So A&M's a B team with a 21. USC's a B with a 23. So the note is that since USC could pass on Notre Dame, it shows you Notre Dame's defense against an Army and a Navy, the running teams they were good at. But then they get into a good, intricate passing attack, and they gave up 30-some points to Maivia. So, I would think Indiana is going to pass the ball, and they can very good. So I think, that kind of coming from here helps you over here. So I like looking at the opponents and the styles to figure out the game. Everything's uh, like a game of poker, right? A hand in poker. Every game you're trying to figure out. Um, so I think SC doing against Notre Dame should be able to do against A&M. Now, how motivated are the teams? And I assume Iavia will play because they only played a few games. A&M doesn't have a quarterback anyway. Connecticut and North Carr. North Carr is 2.5, 54.5 to Connecticut. Yeah, Bill Belichick coaching North Carolina. What a joke that is. See, he couldn't go in the pros because he doesn't have Tom Brady, and then he'd be exposed that he's a shitty coach because it was all Tom Brady who won all those games for him. So as Tom Brady left, he couldn't even make the playoffs. So if he does it in the pros, they're going to see it was all Tom Brady. But if he goes to North Carolina, he can kind of hide going, well, it's college and it's new. I think he's out of his mind anyway. I never thought he was a really good coach. You can say what you want. To say he's the best coach ever. Did you watch Vince Lombardi, Bill Walsh, Bill Parcells? Did you hear those guys? Don Shula. I mean, come on, man. There's no way this guy's the best coach. So we'll see. I don't know if he coaches, they're in trouble. But if the North, I don't know who their coach is. They fired the guy from Texas. BC, Nebraska. Nebraska 2.5 and 45.5 to BC. Nebraska an under team with a 20 defense. BC a B team with a 24. Nebraska decent defense. BC okay, they're okay. TCU 12.5, 58 to Lou Lafayette. Lou Lafayette is an A team. 23 defense. TCU we know is an over team with a 26 defense. I think 12 is a little high because it's Lou Lafayette, but it's an A team. That's why I say take the teams away. You got an over team against an A team, and the over team's laying 12. I don't know about that. Miami 3.5, 55.5 to Iowa State. Now I know how to play this game if I get all my players. So if Cam Ward's playing, and I assume Rocco Breck will be playing, and everybody plays, I know exactly how to play it. Both teams are A. Iowa State's 21 defense, Miami at 24. Total of 55. But we'll got to see. It's December 28th. Could be a late Christmas present. Colorado State, Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is 342. Miami of Ohio is an under team with a 19 defense who got killed by Ohio in the conference championship. Colorado State, pretty good team, an under team with a 24 defense. This total is 42. Oof, that's kind of low. NC State and East Carr, we've got NC State 5.5, 58.5. East Carolina is an over team with the 27. They changed quarterbacks to Hauser from Total Recall. He was lighting it up. NC State quarterback's not as good as McCall, but they're both over 27 defense. East Carr 30, and the total is 58.5. Interesting. BYU, Colorado. What is the meaning of this game? They're both in the Big 12. What the fuck are they playing each other for? I don't understand this. Colorado 3 and 54. BYU's an 18 with the 20 defense. Colorado's an 18 with the 22. Anybody want to bet that Prime Jr. doesn't play in this game? Because he'll have to get ready for the pros. So him and Daddy can go to Dallas and play. He's got to go wherever Daddy goes. That's the only reason he gets playing time. Very good game here. Army up to 16, 48 to Marshall. Now, we got to wait for Army to play today, see if there's any injuries. But if provided there's not, man, this line seems high. Oh, I forgot to do the Marshall one. Army's an A team with the 15 defense. Marshall, it's I think an A team. Oh wait, no, here they are. They're a B team with the 25, so I can use what we just used when Marshall beat Lou Lafayette. Marshall's very strong lately. Switch quarterbacks. He looks really good. They're a very live dog in this game. 16 points to Marshall. Wow. Missouri 3-40 to Iowa. Iowa's an A team with the 17 defense. Missouri's a B team with the 20 defense. Iowa's quarterback's out, McNamara. Their backup, I don't know. Missouri, Brady Cook, is he going to play? He's a first round. He should be a first round quarterback. Might not be because these good ones tend not to go in the first round. They take all the shit ones in the first round, and then the good ones are there in the third round. It's a total of 40. Missouri's got a fairly good defense, but they played Oklahoma 31-28 as like 10-point dogs. Iowa can score with the running back, provided he plays. So is the running back going to play? I would say no, because he'll want to get ready for the draft. AKA, I don't want to get hurt. I'm a baby. And Missouri, Brady Cook might not play. So we'll see what happens if they play or not. The biggest losers in the world, Alabama and Michigan. Alabama, an A team with the 17 defense. Michigan can't score with a 20 and still can beat Ohio State. Unbelievable. Alabama is 10-43.5. Michigan's going to play under, and they're going to run the ball. I don't think there's anybody on Michigan who's going to go pro. I think a couple of defensive linemen maybe, and that cornerback, and then the tight end. Neither of them played in the Ohio State game, the tight end or the cornerback. So we will see. So I don't know. Again, we got to wait till we see who's playing. I know half of the Michigan team won't play because they're a bunch of babies. Louisville, Washington. Louisville 2.5, 49.5 to Washington. Louisville, a B team to 23 defense. I like their quarterback, Shaw. Washington, an under team with the 22. I don't really like Will Rogers, their quarterback. You got the Arizona coach is the Washington coach now. He's a good coach. I don't know what you do with this game. Is Washington a live dog? Louisville can be tough. Very good defense, as does Washington. South Carolina, 9.5, 48 to Illinois. South Carolina, an A team with an 18 defense. Their quarterback will play as a freshman, Norris. Illinois, a B team with a 22 defense. Humpty Dumpty, the coach. It seems like a high number. Illinois doesn't. They got a good quarterback and they got a good defense. South Carolina is a little bit stronger. They've been pounding teams, so it's just the motivation. I think they'll come to play, but we'll see. Bobby's game, Baylor and LSU. LSU 1.5 and 60 to Baylor. Baylor, excellent quarterback, better than LSU's. I think it's Robertson against I can't remember LSU's guy, nice burger or something. Baylor's a very live dog here, and should be some scoring in this one. Duke and Old Mississippi. Now, Malik Murphy, the Duke quarterback, is in the transfer portal. Now, does that mean he plays in this game or he's transferred? I would assume he's not going to play because he's transferred. Old Miss is 14. It's 14-52. We've got Old Miss an 18 with this great defensive ends they got. And Duke, who's got a good defense at 22. But without Murphy, I don't know who their backup is. Duke's always one of these teams that you don't really pay attention to. They're not great, but you know what they do? They cover. Well, we'll see what they do against Ole Miss. Is Jackson Dart playing or getting ready for the pros? Is his last game, so he'll, So this is the part of the bowls that suck. These guys crying and I can't play, might get hurt. Oh my god! And I tell them all to go fucking play tennis because you're not a football player. Football players are passionate, would want to play football. It's like me. I want to do the class. I want to teach the economics. That's the passion and talk football. So I would do this anyway. But the guy who doesn't want to play football wants to sit out. He's afraid to get hurt. Is not a football player. A man who doesn't spend time with his family is not a real man. Don Corleone, the Godfather. Texas State is 10-67.5 to North Texas. Texas State's actually an A team with the 24. North Texas an over team with the 34. Should get lots of points here. Jordan McLeod, if you watch this game, it'll blow you away. Very good quarterback. So is Morris on North Texas. I don't know what they're bitching about. There's no quarterbacks. After watching these two, you go, oh, yeah, there's a few more. Very good offenses. Minnesota v Tech. Minnesota 6.5, 42.5. They're both B teams. Minnie's a 17 defense, V Tech a 22. Drones, I would assume will play. I assume he'll be healthy. I can't imagine he sits out for the NFL. He ain't going to be drafted. Minnesota, good defense. 42.5 is a little bit low, I think. We'll see what happens. And then our last game is Buffalo Liberty. This was 3. Liberty's now down to 1 and a total of 52. So the total hasn't changed. Buffalo an over team with the 28 defense. Liberty's a B with the 23. I think Buffalo's a live dog here. We'll check totals later. So this is just superficial. Now we've got the playoffs. You've got them on the 21st. God knows why. Are they on? I think New Year's Day. They'll be round 2. So you've got the 4 buys against the 4 winners. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Just make it 16 and have 8 games, and then you get down to 8 teams, and then you have 4 get down. Then you have from 4 to 2. I mean, why are you giving 4 buys? Well, why do you have so many SEC and Big Ten teams? It doesn't work that way, right? It should be. The problem is you can't base it on record because of the differences in the conferences. So the SEC is much more better teams, but then they play Mercer and Kent State instead of why didn't Alabama play Ole Miss instead of Mercer? And so there's a lot of that. Here Georgia plays Georgia Tech, but Alabama, well, they play Auburn, I guess. But so these 4 winners will play New Year's Day against the 4 buys, and then we'll get to the 2 and the 1. So those of you who have bought the bowls, you will go all the way through. You get all this, then you'll get round 2 of the playoffs, and then that'll take you down from 8 to 4, and you'll get those 2 games and the championship games. You get all the way through the championship game. I was going to sell them separately, like here are the bowls and here are the playoffs, but I don't. That's kind of silly. So if you take the class for $50, you get multiple. You'll get like 3 classes, and then we'll talk about the playoffs on the first and the playoffs after that, and walk you through it. Same thing with the 100. Now, you can buy any way you want. I'm a free market economics, as I said. So, first of all, if you want to buy the class, buy the class. If you want to buy the picks, buy the picks. we will adjust to that. This is the first year where I'm teaching class. Somebody bought the class, and I didn't like her reaction. I thought it was kind of rude and not what I'm about. So all the things are out there for you to choose. You want to choose the thing. You want to choose the month. I got people paying $300 for the month. I got some paying for the year. I got some paying for the week, and I got some paying for the class. Anything on my board, just feel free and choose it. So, don't give me an attitude. All right, that's not called for. That's not. I don't really like. I kind of stay away from those type of people. So, please, you're free to buy what you want. If I got them listed, I got them listed. And buy what you want. And if you don't want to buy, don't buy. If you want to buy, buy. If you want to win, buy. If you don't want to win, don't buy. That's up to you. It's all free market here. You're choosing. If anything you learn from my economics classes, I'm providing a service. You choose what you want, and that's it. So off you go. Anyway, so that's college. So today, there's the two games, Army, Navy, and South Alabama and Western Michigan. I have played the Army Navy game. I played it with the Rams, and I added a pick with it. All right, let's go to the pros. Pros, I've got 4 locks. And let's go through the lines one more time. We've got Baltimore 16.5, 42.5. So it keeps going up. I think it was 14 and it was 16, 16.5, 42.5. These are the Bitcoin people. So the line keeps moving up and people are actually still betting on Baltimore, which I warn you is not a good thing. Total 42.5. There's a 43.5 out there. You can't really trust Lamar, as we know. The Giants, pretty good defense. They got Danny DeVito. I don't know. Baltimore seems to disappear, like against Cleveland, like against Oakland. Lamar will throw a few picks. So it's hard to say. I don't. My score is a good score, I think. You got Baltimore an over team with the 25 defense. The Giants, a Z team with the 23. Play against the Giants are 11-2, and play against them as a home dog 7-0. Baltimore will win the game probably. It's the number, just like Philly and Carolina. Philly would win it, but they only won by 6. I don't smell what they're cooking with 16.5. Even if they win by 20, I still don't get it. The JETS is 3.5, 40.5 to Jacksonville. Play against the Jets, 12-1. Jets are an under team with 23. Aaron Rodgers. Jacksonville's a Z team with a 27 with Jones. Mac Jones. He's pathetic. I was looking at his stats. He's like 2 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions. He can't read a defense because they don't teach that at Alabama, which is what I try to tell you. That's why all these Alabama quarterbacks suck, because they don't know how to read defenses. So weak defense. Rodgers should have a big day against this defense with Devontae Adams, I feel. Washington, 7.5, 43.5 to New Orleans. We've got Daniels. I guess it's Hayner. It's either Hayner or Rattler. Hayner played last week when Carr got hurt. Washington's an over team, 23 defense with Daniels. Probably more of a B team. I mean, they're a good offense, and the defense is not bad. New Orleans, an E team with the 23 defense. Olavi, I believe, is out with the concussion, and we know Carr's out. They both have 23 defenses. Cincinnati 546.5 to Tennessee. We'll go through weather in a minute. Cincinnati looked good against Dallas on Monday night, but it was still tied at 20, and then they needed Burrow and Chase to win it for us. They're an over team with a 28 defense. This is the problem with Cincy. And Tennessee's a Z team with the 26 and Levis. So they don't score much. Their defense isn't good. Where Burrow scores and their defense isn't any good. So can Tennessee score enough on this weak defense? We know Burrow is going to score on their weak defense. Houston, 2.5, 46.5 to Miami. Both under teams with, tag against Stroud. And yet Miami doesn't score, 23 defense. Houston doesn't score, 22. I thought Stroud was the greatest thing since sliced bread, but they don't score. Total 46.5. I don't know what you do with that. So again, we'll have to look last 4 or 5 games and let's do that now. Let's go last 5. The unders doesn't make sense because Miami without Tag was an under team, but let's look at with Tag. So Tag played the last 5 games. They put up 23 on the Rams, 34 on Oakland, 34 on New England, 17 on Green Bay, 32 on the JETSs. So they've been, they had 3 games of 30 and a 17 against Green Bay. So what do you do with that? And let's look at Stroud the last 5. Puts up 13 on the JETSs, 23 on Detroit, 34 on Dallas, 27 on Tennessee, and 23 on Jacksonville. So some pretty weak defenses there. Dallas, the Jets, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. So, you don't know what you're getting. They lose to Tennessee and they barely beat Houston. They barely beat Jacksonville. So it looks like this is more of an over game than an under game. And again, my stats are full year. That's why I like to go last 5 or 6 because things change. You get the injuries. So the last 5 would tag in that. So they're probably more last 5 evens than unders. And that's why I do this, because I keep cognizant of the injuries. And I keep cognizant of it's a full year average with the injured guy. Now, Stroud didn't have the injured guys, but Tagovailoa got hurt for 3 or 4 weeks. Amazing he's still playing with his 5 concussions. He's like the guy in that one kids movie where they had the scoreboard, Billy Ray, 3 concussions left, 2, 1, then he was dead. That's like Tag's they probably have a scoreboard on him. KC 443. You should have some rain here on the lake. Only an idiot would build a football stadium on a lake where it's all windy and snowy. KC, a B team with the 19 defense and Mahomes. Cleveland is Z team, 26 defense and Winston. Cleveland, Winston throws a lot of touchdowns to both teams, a lot of interceptions, a lot of pick sixes. KC with Mahomes is not scoring that much, but you know what they do? They win. They somehow beat San Diego twice. They beat Denver on a blocked field goal at the end. So they're a very sound defense. That's why they win with Mahomes. It's not wide open, Dan Fouts, Dan Marino football. Even though you have Mahomes, you use them correctly. They run the ball. They rest their defense. They got good defense. So that's what they're doing. Cleveland with Winston. I don't see how they'll win the game. They are a mystery. They beat Baltimore and Pittsburgh at home, which you don't know how. And then they lose to everybody else. So I don't know. Hard to say there. Carolina 2.5, 3, 43 to Dallas. Um, Dallas an E team with the 24 defense. Carolina Z team with the 30 defense. Young, absolutely horrible. Cooper Rush, very good, better than. See, this is why I say he's that better than Dak. And then when Dak goes out, they're scoring more points with Rush than they did with Dak. He's a better quarterback. Um, so, I don't know how a Z team is favored over an E team. Maybe it's they don't like Cooper Rush. I like him. I watch what he does. The guy can do it. And Steve Young's terrible, and he's still terrible. They're running Chuba Hubbard, not against Micah Parsons. Sorry. Arizona 646 to New England. New England's a W team, 24. Drake May's come in, put up about 10 touchdowns and about 8 interceptions. And Arizona under team with a 22 defense, and Kyler Murray, who he's schizophrenic. I mean, one day he puts up 40 on the Rams, the next day 6 on Seattle. Like, who is he? So if he can run, then they score, and if he can't run, they won't. And I don't think New England will let him run. San Diego 345.5. Let's see if we got anything on Justin Herbert. I think he'll play. He's got that high ankle sprain and something else. He's injured with an ankle. I don't know. Tampa, they got Brett, their linebacker, out. Edwards, the safety, out. And Winfield Jr. out. Lots of linebacker out. So I got a lot of injuries to the defense. I think Herbert will play. Should be a good game. San Diego 12-1 in the teaser this year. Tampa Bay is 11-2 and 12-0 as a road dog. So this is a very interesting game here. Detroit Buffalo game not the second game of the week. The game of the week, Philly Pitt. Detroit 2.5, 54.5. It's jumped up from 52. Both are A teams, as we know. Buffalo 21 defense, Detroit 18, but with a lot of injuries. Allen against Golf. Buffalo 12-1 in a teaser this year. Showed a lot of fight coming back against the Rams. Now they lost at Baltimore, so I'm sure that's in their system. And I don't know how they lost. They got killed at Baltimore, but Detroit, this should be obviously a lot of scoring. I mean, anybody can see that. We'll see. I think Buffalo can win the game. 8.5 is a big number to give to Buffalo. Detroit, without the defense, is going to have a little bit of issue. Josh Allen's going to run all over them. I don't think Buffalo can stop Detroit because Detroit's got a good offense, not because of Golf, because they have balance. They got the running attack and a couple of receivers and a tight end and a good offensive line. So that's the difference in the it's the balanced offense. If you can find that, you've got that. Let's check injuries. Buffalo's got a cornerback out. And that's it. Detroit. Taylor Decker, their tackle, that's what I was looking at, is injured with the knee. So I assume he's playing. Some linebacker, Tom Nowaski's out. Never heard of him. A couple of their defensive linemen who are injured with the hamstring, a knee, a concussion, a shoulder are probably playing, but how long are they going to go with those injuries? Right. The concussion they'll play with, but the knee and the hamstring, it doesn't take long to hurt them again. Denver, Bo Nix, 3.5 and a 4 and a 44 to Indy. Denver, 12-1 in a teaser this year. play against Indy, 13-0. Indy's an under team with a 23 defense. So Richardson can't hit the broadside of a barn. He's a good runner. Denver with the elite defense, 18 defense. They're a B team. And Bo Nix really coming on. Thinks he's at Oregon. They're only laying 3.5, which my line was 7. I don't get that. Indy's not, Indy's okay, but I think Denver's defense is the difference in this one. Game of the day, Pitt, Philly, 5.5, 43. Both 8 teams, both 18 defenses. And there's Russell Wilson, who's so much better than Jalen Hurts. He's playing very well. Pitt 12-1 in a teaser this year. Philadelphia play against as a home favorite 11-2, which goes back to last year, but you can do it. You have the same coach. You have Hurts. Yeah, you brought in Kellen Moore. They've been not getting a lot of offense, but the Georgia defense is coming back. Pitt, we know how strong their defense is, but you got Russell Wilson. So 2 good A teams, and this will be the best game of the day. Green Bay goes to Seattle. Green Bay 2.5, 46. Green Bay's a B team with a 21 defense. Seattle is an even team with a 22. Their defense looks like it's coming on. Although if you look at last week against Arizona, it was 30-18 Seattle. So they held Kyler Murray to 6 and then 18, and they're starting to score. So it looks like we should get some points in the game. Green Bay should score on them. Seattle doesn't have that kind of defense. They don't have Coach Pete. I can't believe that. Minnesota 7-44 to the Bears. Minnesota, as we know, 27-3 in a teaser, 12-1 this year. In case they didn't have Darnold last year. Caleb against Darnold. Chicago, an under team, 21 defense. Minnie, an A team with a 18 defense. And he just keeps rolling along, and they have to keep winning to catch Detroit. We'll get into that also. And Oakland and Atlanta. Atlanta is 4-44. They're an E team with a 26 defense. Oakland a Z team with a 28. Oakland again. Is it Cousins against Riddler or Cousins against O'Connell? O'Connell gets carted off with an airbag on his leg, but apparently it's a knee bruise. How the hell can you confuse the two? Should be able to walk on a knee bruise. You can't walk on so I question O'Connell, his passion. Oh, I bruised my knee. You better put it in an air cast. Jesus Christ. How the fuck do you not know the difference? If you break something, you pretty well know you broke it. I don't know. 2 terrible defenses. Atlanta, Cousins, choke. If this was Michael Penix, I would be locking Atlanta in this game. With Cousins, I'm not even touching this game. Maybe a total. Again, I got who's the quarterback. And that's it. So if you want the pros, you can buy the class, you can buy the picks, whatever you want to do. All right, let's get into economics. So a little bit with alligator.
Watch what eating before bed does to your skin. What you eat for dinner might have a greater impact on your university.
All right.
It's by the faith that its users have in it. And it's that's now being eroded. And particularly, if you look in the case of the dollar, foreigners own something like $32 trillion worth of dollars and underlying dollar-denominated financial assets. I'm not including any sort of physical stuff in this. And they're now being asked to, stump up yet more at a time when, global trade is actually diminishing. It's diminishing because of, tariff policies. And we can see what Trump is going to do. He's going to destroy the world economy with Smoot-Hawley Mark II. And it's worse than Smoot-Hawley Mark I, because Smoot-Hawley Mark I, okay, the Americans were importing things like, foodstuffs and so on and so forth, which was, a real problem for the farmers. But when they introduced those tariffs, suddenly, not only was it a huge expense on consumers, on producers in America, but also you had tit for tat tariffs going the other way, and the world just went into depression. I mean, the effect on the budget deficit is tax revenues will be considerably less than anybody expects, and welfare expenses will be far higher. So I think we're looking at a deficit for the current fiscal year in America of over $3 trillion. I mean, I would not be surprised to see that at all. And that, of course, is destructive for the dollar, and it's in a debt trap. I think the point about it, which again, very few people just don't understand, is that when you get risk in credit, interest rates rise. The cost of funding it rises. I mean, we saw this in the UK in 1976 when we had.
See, Alligator, I don't know what he is. He's not an Austrian. He's kind of a Keynesian. He doesn't get. He'll say inflate. He won't say inflation. The definition of inflation is you inflate the money supply. It's very simple, which then makes the money worth less. And he doesn't quite connect that. He goes, well, it's inflation is that it's really not inflation. It's just the purchasing power of the dollar goes down. Well, that is inflation, you idiot. So he doesn't really get what it is. So I get very confused by this guy. Now, what he's saying is you have to have belief in the dollar or the dollar goes out. Well, not if you keep printing it to death and nobody wants it. So maybe that's what he means by belief. But it's just like this. If this is, if nobody wants it, this would be like $1. This would be $2 because it's coins, or my favorite, my Canadian club. If nobody wants this, then it's free. But then nobody would want it, so you couldn't buy it, right? It wouldn't make it. But the market dictates the price on it, and that's really what the point is. But he doesn't seem to get that. I don't know what he does. He kind of misses the mark a lot of what he's saying, and then he likes to say nobody understands it, and it's like, oh, we understand it. Plenty of people understand it. You don't understand it. So let's go a little bit more.
The medium-dated gilts were issued with 15% plus coupons. That's actually where we're headed unless someone does something about it. And that really does mean the collapse of the fiat currency system. So the idea that gold is forecasting this, I don't think is quite right. I don't think we're not at that point at all. And also, people are looking at it the wrong way around in the West. They regard gold as as an asset which you either buy, you buy if it's going up and you sell if it's going down. But the reality is that what's happening is it's not gold going up. I mean, if you look at the purchasing power of
again, he goes with it's the dollar going down. I don't know where he gets this information. He's dead wrong. Gold goes up because it's an asset based on demand, like any other ad, like a Rolex or a Mantle card. They go up because of demand. The dollar goes up because of demand. It's being held down by the derivatives, so you cannot say it's the dollar going down because the dollar's already lost 99% of its value. So what the fuck's he talking about? he makes incredibly stupid comments here because he's saying, well, it can buy the same as a suit, in Roman time. Well, you don't know what the price of it is now. The price is the JP Morgan derivative price. So you can't say that. And did they sell suits in Roman times for $2,800? What the hell is he talking about? So he's really clueless that gold isn't going up. Does a Mantle card go up in value? Did the Joe Montana rookie go up to $100,000, or is that the dollar going down? So is any asset that goes up because of the dollar going down or because of demand? Does a Rolex go up in value, or is the dollar going down? So I don't, he's really anti-gold. He used to be pro-gold, so it's really hard to listen to him.
Over millennia, it's more or less held steady. Therefore, it's actually currencies going down, and that's the way to look at it. And when people actually realize that prices are not rising, but their currency is going down, then the currency is doomed. And I wouldn't.
Well, we already realized that, Alligator, and the currency's been doomed for years. We know that, and that's what I say. It's the prices are not going up. The dollar's losing value because they're inflating it or printing it. Yet he can't connect those dots. This is the problem. So yes, you've got to be very careful with the dollar dropping because it's going out. What'll happen is nobody will want it because it's worthless. So the problem is, as you see prices going up, you don't correlate it to the dollar being worthless. You just see the prices going up. But in our system with competition, I don't need to buy Coke. I can buy Faygo or 7-Up or Dr. Pepper. I can buy competition at a lower price. So I do. So you don't think it's the dollar causing these problems. You absolutely don't think that. So that's the biggest problem. You think it's not the dollar, but anything else. So it makes it for a very, when people lose confidence in the dollar, but they hide it well, and they don't let you know that that it's the dollar, and they don't let I don't have confidence in the dollar. We're running and buying gold, everybody here. So how many people have to lose confidence in the dollar? In Venezuela, they don't have confidence in the dollar yet. It's still there. Or Zimbabwe, you needed wheelbarrows. How much did you need to do there? So it really is confusing.
Rule that development out in the foreseeable future, in the next 1 or 2 years. I mean, obviously, I hope it doesn't happen, but I can't see how they can get off this course unless there's a radical change in political thinking. It's quite a scary thought there, isn't it?
See, so he's saying is the dollar will go out in the next year or two. I don't want to see it happening. It's going to happen. It's not that you want to or not, but the guys in charge of the dollar are fucking it up and printing it to death. All you're doing is saying what's happening. So I don't want to see it happen. I'd like to see it happen so we can get to sound money, because we can't live on this crap money. How long do you want to live on monopoly money? So yes, you do want to see it happen. You want to see them go on gold, and then we'll have sound money. That's what you want. So either they end the dollar by going on gold, or the dollar goes to zero and they come on gold. Either way, you're getting a gold-backed currency.
And I guess it's probably a thought that you may often get pushback from, just purely because of how frightening that outcome would be.
The dollar going
is there
up.
a scenario where you obviously look at this, because I think obviously the UK is going down its path that it's on now for the next 5 years. There won't be another election until 2029. So, but on a global sense, it doesn't really make as much of a difference anyway to things like gold. But obviously the US does have a very large influence on the price of gold, mostly because it's often termed in US dollar terms.
Because of JP Morgan, moron.
Failure of, say, for example, we see the Trump administration come in January. Is there not an opportunity there with this Dodge and this Department of Government Efficiency and Elon Musk and Ramaswamy coming in to slash the deficit? Because on one hand, you've got the tariff problem, but on the other hand, they are making the right sort of noises that people would like to hear about slashing deficits.
Yeah, but they don't have the political mandate to do it. I mean, this isn't like Milei in Argentina. I mean, he very definitely had a political mandate to take the chainsaw to ministry.
He won the popular vote, though, didn't he? So you could probably say that that's a mandate in a sense.
Well, yeah, but you know, he wasn't promoting, I'm going to cut public waste, I'm going to take a chainsaw to it. So he doesn't actually have the mandate. Now, this is desperately important because the permanent establishment knows this, so they can challenge him. Whereas in Millet's case, I mean, certainly in the early days, he would turn around to any civil servant and say, look, if you're not going to go along with this, we'll have another election. And they knew that if he called an election on that basis, who governs, if you like, then, he would just reinforce his majority. So, the establishment, the permanent establishment in Argentina, very is protect yourself.
Did you know every man over 50 has one thing in common? It's how their body naturally changes.
Well, about the only thing you can do is protect yourself by getting out of credit. You get your money back. It's like it's Venezuelan quiseras, yeah, sure.
But if everyone's doing the same thing, then relatively speaking, it's
yeah. But I mean, this is it. The thing, Peter, is that what we're looking at is the complete fear. You understand that? It's dead. It's finished. Absolutely finished. So I would have hopes that we wouldn't actually get to that stage. But don't ask me how we avoid it. It's very, very difficult.
What about the idea that obviously in terms of debt and sovereign debt and bonds and whatnot, it obviously it's usually other countries that are obviously purchasing these, and obviously you can have if every country in the West is doing the same thing and they all know that each other are going to quantitative ease their way out of it, then there isn't that much risk there. Why wouldn't you carry on buying it? Because you are guaranteed that you'll get your money back, even if it is worth a bit less.
you get your money back. It's like it's Venezuelan quiseras. Yeah, sure.
So the idiot asks, well, why would I not keep buying bonds if everybody's in the same boat? Because they're all worthless. So you give a $1,000 bond, you're getting back monopoly money. Why would you do that? You could put your money in the gold instead of doing that. That was a stupid question.
But if everyone's doing the same thing, then relatively speaking, it's
yeah. But I mean, this is it. The thing, Peter, is that what we're looking at is the complete fiat complex has run out of road. And, I mean, I've come across even Austrian economists who think that currencies are no longer just currencies. They think they are money. They've got it completely.
All right. Who the fuck's he talking about? A real Austrian economist is for the gold standard, not. We know the fiat is not money. So I hate when he does that, when he says even the Austrians, which tells me he's not an Austrian. He's more of a Keynesian. But the Austrians do not think that this is real money in any way, shape, or form. The only real money we know is this. This and gold are the real money. I hate when he does that because he likes to say, oh, even the Austrians do it. Name one Austrian who would think that a real Austrian would not. The first thing we do is you can't print the money to zero. We know that. That's the first thing taught. So what Austrian are you talking about? You just kind of putting a jab in there. I got to make a comment. I get pretty graphic here. I don't like to hear that. So I basically say, fuck off. Austrians don't think monopoly money is real. Who are you quoting? Yourself? You're a Keynesian. You're clueless. You don't even know inflation is printing money, making it worthless. Fuck you. I don't like.
They're still currencies, because the way to know whether something is credit or not is, how is it represented in a balance sheet? Is there an obligation on the other side?
Nobody
and
gives a
if you look
fuck.
at any central bank's balance sheet, you'll see that there's an obligation on the other side. What happens is that your deposit or whatever, or the reserves or the currency in circulation in notes, whatever, that's, if you like, on the liability side of a central bank balance sheet, and it's backed up by whatever assets they have on the other side. It must always balance. And so you've got the constraints of reality in this. The idea that somehow you can sort of fiddle your way around it is actually not the case.
Look, obviously, this is if this is the outcome that you're anticipating, and obviously there's a very good argument for it there, with obviously the amount of debt that we're seeing across the West, and the amount of QE that we've seen in the last few years.
It's the printing.
It's not sustainable. What do you? I guess for those who want to
buy gold,
Substack and learn more about this, what's the solution for those who believe this and really want to try and protect themselves?
Well, about the only thing you can do is protect yourself by getting out of credit and getting into real money, which is gold, to a lesser extent silver. Silver isn't priced as money.
Silver isn't priced as money. Did he just say that? Do you realize that it's JP Morgan doing derivatives pricing silver? And what would mean silver priced as money? I can't listen to this idiot anymore. But that's what that's what he doesn't understand at all. Doesn't understand what inflation is, doesn't understand that it is silver is money as gold is. Us Austrians believe that. And that basically, to say it's not priced as money, what would be the price of money then? Why? No, it's being held down. Again, he doesn't understand derivatives, and that JP Morgan price fixes sets the price of gold and silver. What a fucking idiot. He's just clueless. That's why it's so hard to listen to Alligator. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't even understand inflation. He says, well, it's the value of the dollar going up. There's really nothing called inflation. It's just the value of the dollar going down. That's the definition of inflation, moron. You print the money and it goes to zero because you've flooded the market with that, which I'm going to get to that story in a minute. Bobby, show this to Randy Moss, please. Cancer hates these vitamins. It takes only 24 hours. Now, I have not watched this yet. I've got it queued up. I think I've liked it.
This one organ can make a woman's belly big and stick out. And no matter how many diets or how much exercise...
Shut the fuck up. So I'm going to like it. But there it is, Bobby. So give this to Randy. And let's see in the comments if they say what these are. Vitamin D. So really, he just has to go out into the sun. D3 and K2 for sure. I don't know. We'll have to watch it. Anyway, I will take a look. So that goes to a story about flooding the market. So I'm at the gold store buying my gold, buying my silver. And I start talking to the owner. He likes talking to me because he actually learns. I learn about the market, but I don't I don't learn about economics. I know I teach it. I don't need to learn it. And so we start talking, and then I say, well, this price of silver is suppressed. Like like he doesn't understand it. It's suppressed. It's not a free market price. And we were talking diamonds and about De Beers monopoly, and he says there's this new lab made diamond that is coming out, that the diamonds they look just like real diamonds. Real diamonds are $6,000 a carat, and these lab ones are 900. And they're flooding the market, and they're lowering the price, so prices are going down for diamonds. And I said, "Oh, yeah, that's good to hear." And even De Beers is getting in on this because their theory was, we'll just sell to the rich. So we'll keep diamonds at $6,000 a carat, and we don't care if 99% of the population buys them. We just want we're just making them for the rich, which seemed like an idiot thing to do, especially having a monopoly. Why do you have a monopoly then if you're just selling to the rich? So these lab ones come out, and so he goes and he says, well, they're going to flood the market with these because they're cheap and the price will go down. And I said, that's inflation. That's what the dollar is. They're flooding the world with dollars that makes the value go down. Now you understand why I'm in here every other week buying gold and silver, because you can't flood the market with gold and silver because you cannot print or copy these. They are out of the ground and everybody measures them. So if it's a phony. So it's very hard to do phonies, especially at the store. And so that is the diamond story. So basically, look for these lab generated diamonds, which, you can tell your fiance or your wife or your girlfriend, or you don't. You can just go buy her a diamond. She'll never know the difference. And even under a microscope, you can't tell. These lab ones are very, very good. So you have that. And then, you go to your wife, look, instead of spending 6,000, I'll spend 900. Nobody can tell the difference. Now I know women, they'll probably want the real ones, but maybe you'll say, well, but then I can give you a couple grand vacation or something. But anyway, that's the best way to explain inflation. You flood the market with the dollars, which is what the U.S. has done because we've had to do it for the petrodollar. We've flooded the market with petrodollar, causing which was okay when there was the demand for the dollar to buy the oil. But now that you don't need the dollar to buy the oil, and now Saudi Arabia will take anything, but they really want gold. This is the problem. So now but those dollars are all printed. You can't get rid of it. You can never get inflation down because it's printing the money, right? It's the valuing the money. The money cannot get stronger unless you burn, $150 trillion, which is why they talk about digital, but digital's not real, or Bitcoin's not real. As we heard yesterday, the only reason for Bitcoin is to get the capital gains tax on it, to try to get money in. All right, we're going to make Bitcoin go up, and then we're going to capital gains tax you. Well, I don't know if they can do that until you sell it. I don't know. I guess people are selling it. Went from 104 to 96. But anyway, that's the point of flooding, and that's the point of inflation. And that's why we buy gold and silver. You cannot flood. This is whatever is printed, is what's printed. Whatever is made, that's it. There is no more. Now, there's still silver available, but, it's still there, but only in coins. You don't see too many big silver bars, but you still see some. But the demand is huge, and that's the key. So you have the huge demand for silver, and there's not enough supply. Eventually, and very soon, you'll see the silver the price go to where the demand's at. And if all these countries need it and they're going to the mines, and eventually the mines there's not that much silver, where do they go? Then they raise the price. So I'll come in and I'll sell you we really need silver for our solar panels. Yeah, I have some I can sell you at $1,000 an ounce. So when the price gets high enough, then we start selling it if we want to. Again, we're buying it for $30. So to get 1,000, yeah, I'd probably sell a few ounces if I need to. But that's really the whole key to it. And so he hit the nail on the head. What inflation is? It's flooding the market with dollars. See, the dollars keep going unlimited because you flood the market because you keep printing, and so you print for the debt and you print for all for Social Security, and you print for the government and the military and the interest on the debt, and you just flood and flood and flood the market with dollars, which then makes the dollars go down in value. That's inflation. Flooding the market is the inflation. So when he said that, I was that. So if you want to get somebody a diamond for Christmas or their birthday or getting married, get the lab diamond. They're made in the lab. They're just the same as you can't tell the difference between them and a real diamond. And the real diamond's $6,000 a carat, and this generated diamond's $900. Because if you think about it, who can afford $6,000 for a carat? And then you got to make the ring. So it costs you a lot. Who can really afford that? And what's the point of it? All it does is so she has it on her ring. It means you love her. Well, I don't need to get a diamond to somebody to tell them I love them. I love Daria. I don't need to tell her. I don't need to get her a ring to say it. But you do get the ring to show it. But then I can get you, if that's the point, I can get you the lab created one, save a little bit of money, and then have that money to do other things with. There's only so much money. There's no money trees. So we work hard for our money. So do we really want to spend it? Do you not love your wife or your girlfriend the same amount if you get her a lab generated one versus getting her a real one? And that's really the key to it. So that's it. Let's do a little more Mark McGuire from yesterday. I can tolerate him. Let's see what Egon's got.
Be an investment expert, which nobody is. Everybody's an expert when things go up. When things go down, no one is an expert. So instead, you just buy real money in the form of gold, and you look at it 10 years later, if you're lucky to live then. I've been lucky to live for quite a long time and be active. You say it doesn't give any return, any dividend, any yield, but you don't need a yield when something goes up every year. You just sell off a little bit. It's really been the simplest investment in the world, and that's why nobody owns it. Here's another way of looking at it. Paper money. So we see it's too many figures here, but on the left you have the US debt going from 0.4 trillion 1970 to 35 trillion today, and most probably it will be 50 trillion in 2030 and maybe 100 in 2040. We can't tell, but countries are going to need to print unlimited amounts. That's why. Will it go to 10,000, 30,000? It's irrelevant because you're measuring it in something that you don't know what the value is. Measure it in dollars or euros, which is going down by the day. You should measure gold in chickens or cows. An investment expert,
So what they're doing is flooding the market, right? They got to pay for the debt. This is the problem with the debt. They keep flooding the market with the dollars. You can't flood the market with gold. You can't print gold. That's why gold's the lifeboat. So it makes perfect sense there.
I'm here to share good news with you. Hearts in Israel are opening to the gospel like we've never seen. Who the heck wants markets?
Nobody. Well, Andrew, I need you to address something. I know we've had many questions from the community, and I personally received a lot of questions, and I promised that I would ask you this question. And it's regarding, of course, Trump's threat to impose 100% tariffs on any BRICS nation
that dares to challenge the mighty U.S. dollar. Tell us what's this about, because I really don't know.
Yeah, so I know I've had so much feedback, a ton of questions that had to be addressed, and this is perfect, Shane. Let's delve into Trump's BRICS tariff threat. Now, while this likely is just posturing to try and come in and bat a strong hand, don't blame him. Let me feed back what really are well-connected global-facing liquidity providers really anticipate. Now, cutting to the quick, further weaponizing the dollar is extremely bullish for gold. Now, here's why. Bottom line, Russia is an energy and agricultural superpower. So existing sanctions already necessitate ongoing settlements that utilize national currencies. So until Trump removes the main sanctions on Russia, it's possible these non-dollar BRICS pay settlements will continue to expand. BRICS is a rising force that has already overtaken the G7, and given the expanded BRICS trading nations either produce or consume 85% of all global commodities, including energy, tariffs will likely backfire on the US more than it impacts the BRICS nations simply dealing amongst themselves. Now, while Trump's BRICS sanction threats may actually temporarily put a hold on formalizing the named launch of a SWIFT-like alternative settlement currency, as far as gold is concerned, it will not halt the ongoing globally driven FX gold price revaluation process. In fact, liquidity providers assess that these threats of further employing the dollar as a geopolitical weapon has already begun to accelerate the usage of the BRICS pay decentralized payment system, enabling BRICS members countries to trade with each other using their own currencies. And as we've previously assessed, I mean, the wide range of national currencies are not equal in value. So when pricing an equitable price to settle a specific trade between nations, it is the percentage of gold that backs that nation's currency which provides the tradable benchmark to price that commodity transaction. In other words, how many grams of gold that nation's FX currency buys so as to value the trade. And that live FX benchmark price then values the commodity trade or currency swap, which can then be hedged. Hence why every BRICS global south facing and Western central bank, alongside billions of dollars of safe haven institutional demand, are all busy converting dollars and US treasuries to gold. This process will not stop. Now, current reports of fresh Chinese central bank buying absolutely, while they're on the news and it's British, people are saying, well, look, China's back buying. It pales in comparison to the non-stop continued monetary gold purchases. So in the meantime, every single global central bank except the Fed is accumulating gold. If anything, and I'm not joking, the smart move would be to lean into Basel III compliance and start backing the dollar with gold. It's not such a crazy idea if you're caught naked short using unfunded government liabilities into a global short squeeze. Now, if anyone could force a US Treasury gold price reevaluation, it would be Trump. And then what then? After that, what use would the Fed be is the next question. Let's see what Judy Shelton gets up to in January, shall we? Now, the only question remaining, though, is what percentage of your rapidly debasing, depreciating dollars, pounds, euros, yens have you protected with zero counterparty risk, physical gold and silver, guys?
All right. Thank you, Andrew Maguire, for talking gold and
Ranking out.
All right. Well, Andrew, would it be a good point, I think, right now to take a look at this 13th of January 1 ounce CME gold launch?
Yeah, especially as this is an attempt by the CME's official ringmasters to divert physical demand back into the paper markets. But let's look how this effort to attract any meaningful liquidity is absolutely going to fail. Now, following the bullion banks beginning to step away from actually making markets between the Basel III the non-Basel III compliant COMEX gold and the NSFR compliant BIS revalued FX gold markets, which were revalued as a first-year asset class, spec liquidity began leaching out into much more stable physical gold and or blockchain alternatives. So this latest open interest outflow of gold and silver into Bitcoin, we're talking unbacked casino betting chips going from one synthetic market to another, is proof, and both of them are unbacked and leveraged. It's proof the COMEX precious metals markets are experiencing an unsustainable speculator drain. So in an attempt to compete with rapidly expanding blockchain physically backed gold investments, CME is attempting to attract speculators to trade massively leveraged 1 ounce gold futures on credit. Bottom line, directly after the BIS squared all of its over 700 tons of high counterparty risk gold derivative bets ahead of reclassifying gold as a first-year asset class on the 1st of January 2023, the legacy bullion banks simultaneously withdrew their market-making services, which, under license from the Fed, had managed the Fed's over 50-year mandate to cap the price of gold versus the dollar. They were happy to take the load and get bailed out. They're no longer willing to do that. Compliance tells them no. This marked the moment that the global-facing BIS and all of the central banks they represent, they all went long physical gold, leaving the Fed as the sole remaining central bank attempting to manage the foreign exchange dollar gold price. Now, this was also the pivotal inflection point where all the legacy market making bullion banks, who had also gone long for their own books, I might add, began to withdraw from making risky markets between, and obviously you've got one side that's 96% leveraged and unbacked and could default, and the NSFR compliant, Basel III compliant, deliverable FX gold markets. And really, what compliance department wouldn't actually see that as a major risk? And since then, with prices increasingly being determined and settled in the unleveraged global-facing physical exchanges, CME speculator open interest has been, as I say, steadily evaporating out of the deliberately insider-rigged gold and silver casino, leaving the Fed to try and run the COMEX derivatives show on its completely on its own. Now, they single-handedly took over the risky market-making COMEX to FX function by really tasking the bullion banks, privileged to have gold accounts with the bank.
All right, you're getting a little carried away there. We'll do one more on silver. So anyway, like I said, I went to the coin store, and we really understand the flooding the market because De Beers has the monopoly, but they keep their price high because they only want to deal with the rich people. They don't want to deal with the rest of the world. So a carat, a diamond, a real diamond is $6,000 a carat. But they came out with this lab produced for $900. And so the guy at the gold store, well, they're flooding the market, it'll lower the price. And I go, exactly. That's what's happening with the dollars, all the fiat dollars. They are flooding the market, and that's why they're all losing value, which is why I'm here buying gold and silver, where you can't flood the market with it because you can't make any more. And it was like you could see the light go on in his head, understanding now that, and then that gold and silver are kept down so you don't invest in them. And then here comes Bitcoin, which is for, I guess, the capital gains tax. That's why that's going up. Okay, you made all this money. We want the tax on it. And it's not real money. All right, Bobby Bo, I'm glad you're here. Feel like I've been around dumb pet all day. and so far, not until now. Well, I haven't heard from Greg and John. He was on for a second, then he took a. Are there any games today? See, he's vampiring there. Go look on the schedule. What am I? Your service to tell you? Are there any games today? Yes, there's Army Navy at 3, and there's a South Alabama Western Michigan game, which I have no idea. So they're having a bowl game already. Really hard to understand. You meant dumb people. Yeah, well, we're surrounded with dumb people. I did I'll show you a couple of stoic ones I did yesterday or the last few days.
I noticed that when you're too friendly, too kind, and too social, people start showing you disrespect. They take your kindness for weakness and think they can walk all over you. People start underestimating you, thinking you're soft just because you're a good person. But the moment they push you too far, they're going to see a whole different side of you, a side they ain't ready for. If you're always being nice, always doing things for them, they'll keep expecting it. And eventually, they'll think they can take advantage of you, run over your shoes like you ain't even there. That's when you got to step up. You got to step up and show them a side they've never seen before. Just because you're nice, just because you're showing love, doesn't mean you got to tolerate their BS. Matter of fact, that saying, treat people the way you want to be treated, is BS. I can give you mad respect, show you love all the time. But if I don't get that respect back, I ain't obligated to keep being nice. Some people don't deserve your kindness. Some people deserve to be checked. And some people.
How much return do you get on paper?
No.
Money if you don't give it to the bank. And the minute you give it to the bank, you then run a risk that you're not going to get it back. For the people who hold gold for wealth preservation purposes, it's totally irrelevant that it doesn't pay any return or yield. But of course, you have the appreciation, which is not even a real appreciation, because all gold does is to reflect the debasement of currencies. So gold throughout history has maintained its purchasing power. An ounce of gold buys the same suit today, more or less, as it did in Roman times 2,000 years ago. And that's why you hold gold. So you don't hold gold from the purpose of an exciting investment.
If you're from Michigan.
Here is when there is sound money, which is seldom, and we haven't seen it for 100 years almost. But when there is sound money, when governments don't manufacture money by printing endless amounts of it, then gold doesn't fill the same role as it does today. Because today, not only are they printing money directly, the central banks, but also normal banks are issuing unlimited amounts of credit that has no money behind it. People put $1 or £1 into the bank, and the bank lends 9 times that every time. So that is money printing too, because all the time the banks are manufacturing money. And this is why in the last 100 years, and especially in the last 10 years, credit has grown exponentially, which means that currencies will continue to debase. It means that gold will continue to reflect that debasement of currencies.
So basically, they're flooding the market with dollars, yen, bricks, pounds, Swiss francs, and all that. That's why you need gold, because you can't flood the market with gold, because there's only so much. You can't print it or copy it. And if you back your dollar by gold, you can't flood the market with gold-backed dollars, because you run out. It's a finite amount. That's why these governments and all these corrupt people don't like the gold standard, because they can't flood the market. And what they don't realize, the Keynesians will say, flood the market, flood the market. What they don't understand is if you do that, the value of the dollar goes to zero. As my diamond guy said, well, if they do these lab generated diamonds and they flood the market, the price will go down. And the look on his face when I said, that's exactly why I buy gold, because they're doing it with the dollars and they can't do it with gold. You can't flood the market with gold. And it was a perfect scenario. Bobby Bo. You meant dumb people. Yes, I get that. A bunch of family members that pay attention to the wrong be instead of what's important. Yep. Egon, yep. Alligators sold out. Yeah, we were watching Alligator a little bit before, and he doesn't understand what inflation is. He says, well, really, there is no such thing as inflation. It's just it's the devaluation of the dollar. And I'm like, but that's what inflation is. It's flooding the market with dollars, which devalues the price of it. That's what inflation is. You're inflating the money supply, and then you're going to flood the market with it. That's the problem with printing dollars and not having it backed by anything, is you eventually flood the market, and then there's competition. And that's why he doesn't want BRICS to come out with a gold-backed currency, because the dollar that's flooded cannot compete with gold, which cannot be flooded. That's why we like gold and silver. You answer your daughter that one, Bobby, and then let's see if she understands that. Okay.
There is a type of person you should never help. Listen to this story, and you'll understand what kind of person that is. Once a scorpion wanted to cross a river. It approached a kind frog and asked for help. The frog said, "Your tail has venom. What if you sting me? What will I do then?" The scorpion replied, "Don't worry. If I harm you, I'll sink to the bottom of the river too." The frog thought this made sense and agreed to carry the scorpion across the river. But as they swam to the middle of the river, the frog died. The frog felt a sharp pain in its back. Turning around, it saw that the scorpion had stung it. As they both began to sink, the frog asked, "You knew this would lead to both of us dying. Why did you still sting me?" The scorpion responded, "I didn't want to, but I couldn't control myself. In the end, they both drowned." This story teaches us to avoid people with bad habits and not to trust their promises. Otherwise, your kindness won't just bring
Appears when there is sound money.
That's why we can't trust liars. That's the only rule I have with the girls, is don't lie to me, because then I can't trust you, and we'll both drown in the bottom of the lake. But that's stoic. Stoic, you've got to set rules, and you've got to not allow that shit. So normally I just walk away from people who I can tell are liars or just idiots. What is the point of having a conversation with people? I don't want to have a conversation to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation where we learn, or I teach, we talk football or gold. Those are the conversations that interest me, that I want to have. And this is the whole point. So if you're around a liar, or like Greg and John, who keeps yapping and yapping and yapping, a vampire, you don't want to waste your time with them. You want to have valuable time and valuable conversations that are meaningful to both parties. And once people start lying to you, you get away from them. I don't care who it is. It could be your girlfriend. It doesn't matter. If she starts lying to you, how do you trust them? I've had girls that do that, and I say, the one rule: don't lie. You can cheat, just don't lie. I don't care if you're with other guys. That I can handle, because you're just having a good time. That's like playing golf with somebody else. But if you start lying, then how do I trust you? And then you're going to stab me in the back with your stinger, and we're both going to die. And that was a very good stoic thing. You wake up early on Saturdays? Not too early. I might wake up to go to the bathroom or something, but I think I got up today about 8:30. I think I got up at 6:30 to go to the bathroom, but I went back to sleep. Or for work, I'll get up. I keep getting up at 6, and then I can't get back to bed, and then my alarm goes off at 7, and I'm tired. But today I don't worry about it, and I just tend to go to, I go back to sleep and get up. And today we started class about 11:15. I made my barbecue chicken at about 10:30, so that was nice. And I was watching a little alligator, which was stupid. All right, a little bit more, Egon.
Which is seldom, and we haven't seen it for 100 years. Or
which is seldom, and we haven't seen it for 100 years almost. But when there is sound money, when governments don't manufacture money by printing endless amounts of it, then gold doesn't fill the same role as it does today, because today, not only are they printing money directly, the central banks, but also normal banks are issuing unlimited amounts of credit that has no money behind it. People put $1 or £1 into the bank, and the bank lends 9 times that every time. So that is money printing too, because all the time the banks are manufacturing money. And this is why in the last 100 years, and especially in the last 10 years, credit has grown exponentially, which means that currencies will continue to debase. It means that gold will continue to reflect that debasement of currencies. The way we look at it, the price is not irrelevant, but you should not look at gold as an investment. You measure on a daily basis. You buy a kilo of gold, 100 kilos of gold, or a ton of gold, whatever size investor you are. You put it away and you don't look at the value. All you know is that you have X ounces or X kilos of gold, and you know that will over time outperform, or at least keep pace with every other asset in the world. And times like today, when there is so much money printing and credit creation, gold will outperform all other assets in the next few years. Even in this century, in the 2000s, gold has done better than almost every asset class, done better than all of the stock markets. Most people don't realize that, because people don't even know that gold exists. Therefore, price is irrelevant. Of course, sometimes gold doesn't move. It moves in periods, sometimes very fast, and sometimes it just goes sideways.
When I was in high school.
See, that's what people don't get. Here, Bobby, show this to Randy Moss. Cancer hates these vitamins. It takes only 24 hours to kill cancer with those vitamins. One's vitamin D. I haven't watched the video. And I'm sure cayenne pepper's there too. So have Randy watch this one. Anyway, it all comes back to they're all corrupt, the governments. They're all Keynesians, and the Keynesians believe you just keep printing money. And they don't believe in the value of the money, and they don't believe in anything else. An alligator actually said we need to go back to Austrian, because the Keynesians don't know what they're doing, and it always fails with Keynesians, because they always want to print money to expand the economy, and it doesn't work. Just leave the money. You must have sound money. This is the first thing. This has to be sound money, period. I like this, Bobby. It's a 2-ouncer. I've never seen it before. He had it in this red. I said, "What's that?" He says, "These are 2-ounce Canadians." So I bought $500 worth, which ended up being 7, but I realized it's really 14, because they're all 2-ouncers. So I got 14 ounces of silver yesterday, because they didn't have 1/4 ounce silver gold. I was shocked by that. Anyway, the governments want to keep printing because they want to buy votes. So, we'll give you Social Security, and we'll do this and that. And then you have this huge debt because they spend way too much money, because they want to stay in power. So people in government want power. And then they print the money, so they get the money. And this is the problem. So they get all the money, but they don't realize it kills the value of the money. This is what's very clear. As you flood the market with the dollars, you're actually killing the value of it. But they can't see that. The Keynesians think, I'll just keep printing, and I don't worry about the value of the dollar. I'll just print more. It's the dumbest thing we've ever seen, right? Because at a point, nobody will want it. You've printed too much. And all over here is gold. Now, the one thing I keep arguing about with Alligator or Egon or any of them is that the dollar They think that gold doesn't change in value, that it's the dollar. And I keep saying, you don't even know what the value of physical gold is. You don't know what the value of this 2 ounce is, because it's not the derivative paper value. Those are price fixed to keep the value down. The real value of this, you have no idea, because there's no physical market. Russia's coming out with a physical market, and we're going to get an idea, and it'll be like Mark McGuire is saying. I'll show you that in a minute. It's triple digit, and I've said quadruple. I said 1,000 to 2,000 an ounce, because it's been suppressed and price fixed for 40 years. But yet the dollar is getting heavily inflated, but silver price isn't going up. If it's the dollar going down, then why isn't silver going up? And that's my argument with Alligator and Egon and Mark McGuire. It's definitely price going up based on demand, as in any other asset, a Rolex, a Mantle card. They go up because more people want it than there are. So gold and silver will go up because of the demand. It is not, well, the dollar going down, because the dollar is going down, and it's not going, it's still $30. So that shoots a hole in your theory right there, Mark McGuire, and Egon and Alligator and the rest of the farm animals. And that's the perfect point. You're having you're flooding the market with dollars, which makes the value go down. But you can't flood the market with gold and silver. And it's the same Titanic, get on the light boat, same scenario. The water's coming in, is the dollars being printed, is the flooding of the market, the flooding of the dollars, the flooding of these diamonds that are made in the lab. They're lab created. It's the same thing. Anything that you flood the market on loses value, because there's more supply than demand. But you can never have more supply than demand for this, because the supply is very limited, for even more for gold. And the demand, you're forcing the demand by printing the dollars. There's no way out. So what everybody doesn't understand is they flooded the market with dollars, but you still hold dollars. Oh, well, I'll go into Bitcoin, I'll go into stock. You're still in dollars. You're still in the flooded market. You're on the flooded Titanic. You're still on that boat, just because you're in stocks or real estate or the paper or in the bank, stocks and bonds and Bitcoin. You're still on the Titanic. You haven't gotten off, because what you're using is money that's the flooded money part. You haven't gotten out of the flooded. They flooded the money. They flooded the money supply. You're still in that, even though it's a stock. You're still in that, and because it's a Bitcoin, you're still in that, or digital money. I don't even know what the fuck that is. That's just fake. It's not even real money. And no, we don't believe. Austrians don't believe that paper money is money. All right. So I don't know where Alligator gets that, and it pisses me off. And I left him a very nasty comment. I told him to fuck off, basically. But this you can't print, so therefore this is limited. And as more people, so my thesis is, as more people see that the paper's being flooded, more people will run to gold and silver, because it can't be flooded. And that's why those prices will really go up drastically once we get them away from the suppressed price, once we get to the real price. And that's where I'm betting, and that's what BRICS will do. All right, let's look at Mark McGuire talk about silver.
Most power players on Wall Street rate NVIDIA a strong buy today. Yet why?
Million banks privileged to have gold accounts with the Bank of England to act on them.
Leave it at that, because we've got a ton to get through.
Now, Andrew, I know this is well over 200 episodes, and I don't believe that we've ever talked about silver this early in our episode, but you got me really excited. You got me fired up about something major that's going on that we were talking about just before we started recording here in the silver markets. Can you share with the community what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely, Shane. Obviously, look, it's unlike gold. This has been the problem with silver. Unlike gold, it's not yet been formally reclassified as a first-tier asset class. So, but nevertheless, it's a component of Beijing's war efforts alongside hedging, foreshadowed tariffs to come. Liquidity providers assess the relaxing of the SGE rules that we looked at last time is specifically focused on attracting large silver bullion flows into China to meet military and industrial demand. Now, as we outlined in our last episode, by incentivizing millions of smaller investors, that's the millions of SMEs that we looked at on the charts as well, incentivizing them to buy and to trade fully paid for silver, it is greatly impacting global supply, draining underpriced silver already facing a 4-year massive supply deficit. Now, while there is a commodity element to silver, silver is classified as money, which is why, unlike any other commodity, it trades as a foreign exchange cross. So, as I say, long silver, short dollar, yen, etc., or the other way around. Now, with pricing being established in the physical exchanges, where there is always a tradable buy and sell order for every single bar that is actually traded, it's also going to put silver onto the revaluation stair steps. And it's just as when the Bank of International Settlements reclassified gold as a first-tier asset class on the 1st of January 2023, what they did was force the multi-trillion-dollar FX gold to become NSFR compliant, which meant that liquidity providers all of a sudden had to back each buy and sell order with physical gold. So that was a big change that changed what was really an unallocated market into a physical market. Now, by actually pricing physical silver or physically pricing silver in the FX markets, the silver fix event will produce the same result, which each silver bar will have a real buy and a real sell silver price, and a real silver price will emerge from that fact. It doesn't matter what the price of silver is, there's always going to be a buyer and a seller, but it's not going to be settled in the paper markets. And when we look back at silver in the rear view mirror, when it's trading with a 3-figure handle, yeah, you'll like that, Shane, it will be realized all the signs to act are really right under our noses now. And at the margin, this fresh SGE demand will be the next catalyst to drive a series of higher physically driven stair steps, this time also revaluing silver. It will begin to bullishly undermine the current bearishly skewed multi-billion-dollar options and OCC structures. We talked about these structures before. These are derivative structures. They're backed by nothing. Now, we've not really evidenced a real balanced supply-demand silver price, really, since it was fractionalized and diluted to be traded on the COMEX about 50 years ago. Now, with silver, with silver supply actually being sucked out of above-ground stocks right now into this growing supply deficit, it actually raises the question which we raised last time. What is that price? And while no one exactly knows, every well-connected liquidity provider assesses it has to be a 3-figure price. And once the short squeeze and margin calls hit, it will happen faster than most people realize. This is why every single bullion bank, without exception, is long both gold and silver for their own books. So really, kind of to sum that up, at the margin, this completely unfactored, fresh, BRICS-driven SGE silver demand is going to make it impossible for the fast dwindling above ground supply. There's not enough supply for the so-called LBMA silver professional trade that they call themselves to suppress a globally driven spot silver price breakout into all-time highs. Now, liquidity providers give it till the first week in January for the lid to blow off. I mean, we are talking imminent here. And yes, the clues are all there under the deliberately induced chart noise. In other words, what's going on in the paper to physical battle, which is actually designed. It's the whole reason the COMEX was designed, to keep investors on the sidelines into what looks like a non-performing asset class. Why? Because so much paper, silver, and gold as well has been introduced to actually make it look like that it's non-performing. Whereas silver has quietly been leading gold higher and is looking explosive. All our liquidity providers agree something large is going on in silver.
Now, Andrew, it'd be
So we're getting a physical price when there's a buyer and a seller in the market, which is what we're apparently getting first week in January, and it's December 14th. So I suggest you hurry up and buy your silver, because you ain't gonna, it's gonna go very high. Now, of course, you still can have it after, but so this is beginning of January, let's say. So there is a physical market, which is what I've always been calling for. It's a paper market. It's a bullshit market. They flood the market with paper gold and silver, so it makes it look like the value is not there, which is my whole thesis. The value of the physical gold is much more limited than this paper flooding, and therefore it's worth a whole lot more. That's where I get my $10,000, $20,000 gold and my $2,000 silver. If you stop pushing it down and let it run, it would definitely go. He's talking 3 digits. I'm talking 4, because once people see it at $100, $200 an ounce, it'll go right to 1,000. Because then people go, oh, I guess I've been fucked all this time, and that's why we're Rumpelstiltskin. We're turning our paper. I'm turning my paper into silver and gold. You gotta love that Rumpelstiltskin guy. All right, Bobby, what are we up to? Yes, I wake up early Saturdays. So you got 2 ounce maple leafs. That's exactly what this is. It's a maple leaf. It's 2 ounces. It says it right here, 2 ounce, right there, 2 ounce. And it's even better. It's 4 nines. And this is 2020. You can see the year. So I don't know if they still do it or not, but this is what was done. And I was able to get it. He had a couple of containers. He had 2 or 3 of these. I never saw them before. Normally I get the bullion, that are 30, would be 33 an ounce. This was 35. So I had to pay $70. So I said, well, what's 500? He said 7. And that's why I got 7. Because I wanted to buy the 1/4 ounce gold, but he didn't have it. All he had was a few ounces. He had a panda ounce, 2 of them. He had this beautiful, you'd have loved this, Bobby. He had the kangaroo, a 1 ounce kangaroo Australian. It was beautiful. It was shiny. You could see the kangaroo hopping around. It was, you'd have loved the coin, Bobby. I know how you love the kangaroos. Russia should go on the show and embarrass them. That's why they don't want me on the show, because you can't fuck with me. Because I'm stoic and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't play the games. Like when the kid in the sauna is talking to me about gold and everything, and he says, well, what are you going to sell it for? What fiat money? And I immediately answered, you don't get it. This is the money. I'm not going to sell it for fiat money. I'm off the Titanic. I don't want to get out of the lifeboat back onto the Titanic. So once I sell and buy the gold and silver, I'm on my lifeboat. I'm not getting out of my lifeboat to go back on the Titanic. Now, if I needed $1,000, I'd sell a 1/4 ounce, let's say, and I would take the money because I needed the money. So it would be get the money and do something with it immediately. That would be it, right? But outside of that, all they're doing is flooding the market with the paper stuff, And that's what they did in the COMEX. They're flooding the market with paper gold and silver, so it looks like it doesn't move, even though the inflation has made everything go to the moon. Bitcoin's 100,000, but gold's 2,700. You're like, huh? So you don't even watch COMEX. That's why I say it's not real. But this physical market that's starting early January is getting us all excited, because, as I told Luke's got 1,000 ounces because he's got 2 boxes. Well, when it moves $100, he makes $100,000, and it's hard to get 100 ounces of gold. That's some serious money. And when gold goes up $100, when it goes from 2,600 to 2,700, you got 100 ounces, you make $10,000, right? You don't make 100,000. 100 ounces, yeah, because I got you make, it's for every 10,000 it goes up 100, you make $1,000. So you would make 10,000 when the gold goes up 100. But it's gone up from 1,700 to 27. If you had 100 ounces, you would have made $100,000. But in silver, 1,000 ounces, which are far cheaper, if it goes up $100, you make 100,000. The problem is in silver, you don't see that kind of price move, but in gold you do. But if you're smart and you're patient, you're going to start seeing it in silver, and you're going to be mighty happy that you bought 1,000 ounces. So the move's coming in January. It looks like. Well, let's give it until February, but we'll be happy in January. Bobby Bo. You can even bring the vampire with you on the show to bother them. Nah, we don't want vampires. I found a new coin store around here. This guy is more cool, said he would be very close to spot whenever I do sell, and he had more inventory. Well, that's good for you. Hell yeah, you're the man, Professor. That's why I respect you in the class. Thank you, Bobby Bo. I try to be, I'm stoic and I'm honest. And that's really, that's how people, that's what you want in a person, to be honest. And if I don't know something, I say that. When I give you the doctor stuff, it's not me, I'm watching the doctor and I'm telling you what she's saying, so you don't have to watch the whole doctor thing. But that's what I'm giving you. I mean, the economics I learned from an Austrian economist, and I'm sharing with you, but I know it from him. But that's how we learn everything. Somebody tell you, I teach you this, and Bobby can go and say, this is what it is. He's not an economist, but he can quote me, and he knows he's right, and he's honest, and he's telling the truth. This guy is more okay. Yeah. I just hope I can get this health together. You don't have any problem. Cholesterol is meaningless. Okay, I told you that before. It's the ambulance that comes to the fire, right? There's a fire engine that comes to the fire, and they want to blame the fire engine for causing the fire when they're there to put it out. The cholesterol is not the problem. It's to fix the problem. Just eat your cayenne pepper and your cayenne salt, and just stay away from your sugars and your carbs, and just eat steaks and hamburgers all day, and chicken and salads and cayenne pepper, and you'll be fine. I mean, you really don't have much to worry about if that's the problem, cholesterol. Okay. Luke has 1,000. Well, he said he has 2 boxes of the silver, and each box has 500 ounces. So he has at least 1,000 ounces. How many ounces do you have now for gold and for silver? I got about 60 gold and about, I think 650 silver, including that. This added 14 ounces. Even though there's 7 of them, they're all 2 ounces. And I have 2 10-ounce bars and a 5-ounce bar. And now I got some 2-ouncers, and I got a bunch of 1-ouncers. So It's like there was no gold to buy, or I thought I had enough gold, and then I bought some silver as I realized silver's way undervalued. And then the more I kept buying, and now I'm back to buying gold. I'd prefer gold because now I realize it's the gold standard, and it's, but I'm not selling my silver. I'm happy with both. Yeah, silver is not doing anything. I should have got gold. No, silver's about to go like the first week of January. I was watching your boy, Dr. Enberg. What's the lady's doctor name again? Barbara O'Neill is the lady. I heard Enberg talk about the fireman example. Well, that's where I told it to you. I think I showed you that video. So there really is no cholesterol to worry about. And if you just stay away from sugar, you can't get cancer. And if you just watch your eating and do your fasting a little bit, your fasting will clean your whole body up, right? I keep trying to get you to do a 72-hour fast, which you can have water and tea, and you'll never have a health problem. Your body cleans you, right? You've had injuries in baseball, right? You've broken bones, or what happened, your body healed it. Well, it's the same thing here. Just get out of the fucking way. Don't eat for a couple of days. You won't have a cholesterol problem. Your body will take care of it. Just get out of its way. Let the cleaner come in and clean it, and you'll be fine. I mean, I keep trying to do that. You're worried. It's not a diet. It's not to lose weight. It's to clean your body. It's the health reason. That's why I want you to fast. I did last week. I did a 43-hour fast. You stop counting, Professor? I stopped counting what? No, I still count. We got a Leo, sure nothing is ever missing. We got to make sure nothing is ever missing. Not sure how that typo got Leo. Well, because I'm noticing the keypads, I'll put in Alina and it comes out Alexander or something for Daria's daughter. So yeah, no, I still count. I mean, when I buy gold, I introduce it to the family of gold, and we're all excited when we get more. So this silver, this I put in. I got a box that I put all my other white boxes in. So I put this in. It's one of these hard plastic boxes you'd put baseball cards in, and so I got a couple boxes for my silver, but about 300 ounces in each box. And then I got my Highland mints. I got another 37 ounces of Highland mints. So I got Michael Jordan and Barry Sanders and Dan Marino and Wayne Gretzky and Bobby Orr in the Highland mint silvers. And some are two-tone with the gold overlay that are actually worthless. So it's just the silver. And they're all worth a lot more than the silver. So if the silver's $40 an ounce, the Mickey Mantle, well, I don't have a Mantle, but the Michael Jordan's worth like 200. I got a Kobe Bryant's worth like 150. So those have value because of the player more so than the silver, like a baseball card, like our Mahomes. It's a card, but this is what's cardboard, $1, but because it's 50 count, it's worth about $1,000 or something, or it will be after he wins another Super Bowl. So we will see, but that's what's going on with that. But yeah, I mean, I keep now. I just bought Thursday, so I get paid Thursday. So this is my Christmas present: my 1 ounce of gold and this. I told Daria, I said, this is my Christmas present. So I gave her money. We're going through her expenses because it's getting more and more expensive. The ruble is like $1. 108. $1 buys 108 rubles. So I said, well, what's your rent and what's your food? And let's take a look at your budget now that I'm back to work. And so she tells me, so I'm like, okay, so I got to give her a little bit more for rent and a little bit more for food. Well, fine. And then she says, well, my rent won't go up if I wallpaper. And I go, oh, how much is wallpaper? She goes, 38,000 rubles. So you think that's a lot. It's only $380. So I sent her $400 and said, so she's getting the wallpaper today, so she'll show me. She was all excited, and then her rent won't go up. So I thought it was worth it. Although I don't know how much her rent would have went up. Would it go up $10 or would it go up $100? Who knows? But anyway, so she doesn't have to worry about it. So I've taken stress off. So we're going to meet after Trump takes office and hopefully ends the war, which I believe is what he's trying to do. And then I'll probably go to Russia then. I did see 2 Chinese pandas, 1 ounce gold pandas at the gold store, which is very rare because China doesn't let any gold out. But somehow this gold got out, and but I didn't want to buy China pattern. I should have bought the kangaroo. The 1 ounce kangaroo was just gorgeous, but oh well. I meant to make sure that silver or gold is never missing since we keep count. Yeah. Well, I know the gold's in the safe, the silver, I can't put in the safe. It's too, there's, there's about 31 of these, and then the couple of 10 ounce bars and a 5 ounce bar. But I don't like much over 10 ounce. I prefer I would prefer like 10 of these, which is 20 ounce, than a 20 ounce bar, because it's hard to sell the 20 ounce bar, but I can take a 2 ounce and get money for it. So when it hits 500 an ounce, I can say, okay, give me $1,000 with one of these, versus trying to bring in too many. Let's see. Yeah, it's a fun feeling inside walking out the coin store. Yeah, because it's the deal of the century, because the key is we're buying gold. Silver's real price is about $2,000 an ounce. Well, let's say it's $1,000 an ounce. This is a $2,000 coin I got for $70. That's why we're singing and dancing. Not only that, there's still gold and silver to buy, which makes it even better that you're happy that I was very happy that there was an ounce of gold, because that was my main goal going, is the ounce of gold. And I got a maple leaf. And that's, and I said to him, I'm a little worried that you won't take dollars for gold anymore. He says, well, I don't see that happening for a while. And I was happy because I think it's going to happen much quicker. I don't think we have much time left on the dollar, and it becomes worthless. And when that happens, then do you want, I'm telling them this to help them. Like, look, dude, you don't want dollar. I mean, I don't want to get back on the Titanic. I don't want to get back into dollars. I'm not really doing this so the price of silver goes up. This is to protect us from this going to zero, because they're flooding the market with this. So if you understand flooding the market, that means this goes down in value. And that's a good way to tell you that they're flooding the market with dollars, and the derivatives in gold and silver are flooding the market. So I'm not buying this so it goes up to $100 an ounce or $1,000 an ounce. I'm doing it because I got to get out of it, because this is going to zero. So I don't want to be holding this. So that's why when I get paid, I don't want to leave it in the bank, and I really don't want to add it to my safe. I said to myself, there's 3 things I can do here. I just got paid. All right. I can A, leave it in the bank, B, take the money out of the bank and put it in the safe, or C, take the money and go buy more gold and silver. And C wins every time. Once I get enough money in the safe, I don't want anything in the bank, and I need enough to cover rent and food. And then I don't need much more money in the safe, because I know that's crap money. That's flooded money, we'll call it. So I go buy more gold and silver, and I go, if I ever need it, I just go sell this and get the money back. So it's not a big deal. I lose a little because of the thing, but in silver, I don't lose much in a premium. But that's really what you're doing. So if I have 10 grand and I pull it and I buy gold with it, I still have 10 grand. I haven't spent a nickel. It's just simply in a different money, gold and silver, which is what you're doing with Bitcoin or Mantle cards or Rolexes or Picassos anyway. There's no difference there. Bobby, it's cool where there's other people there to start talking about metals and investing. I appreciate, because my regular family and friends are a bunch of idiots. Yeah, I know. I get the same thing. I love them, but damn, they are clueless. It's not even that they're clueless. They don't want to learn. You're giving them the key and they don't want it. They're like, no, sorry, I don't want to go in that door. And you're like, here's the key to everything. You can survive and be happy and be healthy, and they don't even want the key. And you're like, shake my head, right, Bobby? By the way, I'm glad you brought that up, Professor. I started doing that too with my finances, where I put together a spreadsheet. Yeah, well, I think you have to. And I don't, the price goes up and down. So I don't really, like, I just set silver at $40 an ounce. I know it's not 30. I know it's really 100, but I'll wait till it hits 100. And then I'll go 650 ounces times 100. And now it's worth 60,000. And I'll have fun with that. But it won't go down once it's in free market. Once we get a physical free market price, it'll never go down. It'll only go up. It only goes down now because of the derivatives. They're shorting. I never used to do that, but I feel I've blown money unnecessarily the past couple of years. So figure I give the budget thing a shot. Well, what it is, Bobby, is when you see it, it's a whole different thing when you don't see it and you see it. So when you see, this is my paycheck and these are my expenses and this is how much gold and silver I have, it's a whole new ball game. It's like when I do my football and I chart everything, right? And I go, oh, wait, Pitt's 12-1 in a teaser. And when you see it, it's a whole different thing than you don't see it. So the more you see, like when you really want to go on a diet, I used to write everything down. I did this and that. Now I don't do it. Now I just simply stay away from sugar and carbs and eat steaks and chicken and fish and have a bunch of salads. And I don't even have to waste time writing it down. I don't eat until noon. Well, today I ate at 11 o'clock. Just before I came on, I had my pita with chicken from the deli, sliced chicken, and my avocado. And I'm dying to eat. I made barbecue chicken last night, but I haven't eaten it yet. I didn't want to, it was too early to eat chicken, but I love putting it, I slice it up, nice small little pieces, and I throw it in my omelet. And it tastes great. There's something, and there's even better when you got hamburger in the omelet. What a great taste that is. And then your cayenne and your Celtic salt, and that was it. So yeah. So I can spend more on investing, etc., investing, vacations, and eating good. Well, exactly. And this is only going to go up, as Mark McGuire said. Early January, here's the physical market, and the flooding's there, and that's going to have to be stopped. So once you get out of paper and into physical, you'll be able to do a lot. So all you have to do, the secret to the success is just take your fake money, your watered down money, and do a Rumpelstiltskin and buy gold and silver and just let it go up. Now we're just really getting out of the money, but we're getting the kicker. And this is where I disagree with Egon and Alligator. It's not the gold going up, it's the dollar going down. And I disagree with that 100%. It really has nothing to do with that. You could say that about anything then. Is my Canadian club, is this more expensive because the dollar's worth less? Yeah, I mean, that's basically what inflation is. All the it takes more dollars to buy the good. So it should take more dollars to buy this. So in effect, every item, not gold and silver, but every item, it's not the price going up, it's the dollar going down. And that's what we understand. And that's how I teach it. So as the dollar gets flooded and they start losing value, it takes more dollars to buy it because the dollar's not worth as much. And that's the point that I gotta I have to hammer home, is that I don't know that people are understanding that. And I'll bitch about the prices going up, but you don't understand as to why. It's because you're flooding the market with dollars, which then causes the dollar to lose value, just like we talked about in diamonds. I love the look on his face when I said that's the inflation. So he said they're gonna dump all these lab made diamonds on the market, and it's going to lower the price. And that's exactly what's happening with dollars, and that's why we buy gold, because they can't flood the market with gold. And he just you could see the light bulb turn on. And that's what once you realize that the dollar's no good, that's when it goes bye-bye. And we better have some gold-backed currency. And the reason is you can't print gold. You can't flood the market with gold. It can't be done because there's too much demand and there's not enough gold to do it. Now, China just made a big finding of gold. That won't do anything. You're not inflating. There's maybe a little bit more gold to have, but there's plenty of people who want to buy it. And it won't leave China anyway, so it really won't flood the market. But that's a whole different animal. But the dollar is flooding the market. So that's why everybody wants to de-dollarize and get into gold. That's why BRICS want to get into gold, because they realize you flooded the market with dollars. It's not worth anything. And therefore, if it's not worth anything, why do I want to have it? I better get out of it. And then you realize the only lifeboat was gold and silver. And that's why we're in it. It's because I looked at that as soon as Biden took it, he started flooding the market with dollars or inflating. As soon as he did that, I like flooding the market. I think we understand that better. As soon as he did that, I said, I got to get out of dollars. Oh, I better buy euros or something. Then I realized, no, they're all flooding too. All of these Keynesians are flooding the market with their dollars. So then I realized the only answer is gold and silver. And that's why you got to get out of the dollar, because it's losing value. But the only thing to do is get into gold and silver. And that will go up because of the demand for gold and silver will go through the roof. Because as people realize the dollar's been flooded, there's no other option. You can buy Rolex, but this is actual money, right? This is $2, right? 2 ounce. I think it says, yeah, here. So this is actually worth $10 Canadian. So this is actually real money worth something. But we don't want the $10. We want the silver. We want the $1,000 an ounce silver, not the $10. But so you play stupid at an airport and say, no, I only got $50 here. I got 5 of them or 7 of them. I got $70, and they're all worth $1,000. They're all worth $2,000 a piece because it's $1,000 an ounce. And people will go, well, silver's never been over $50. That's in the paper, flooded market value of JP Morgan. That is not the real value. That's not the physical value of the silver, because that's not flooded. So that's what they're trying to do, is dilute it to make it look like there's a lot of gold and silver. That's why the price goes down, but there isn't. And that's the other point of it. All right. Well, that's why we go on vacation and we eat well. Today I think I'll go to the barbecue and get some ribs and chicken. Although I got to be careful. The ribs keep it's too much acid for my body. I don't know what's going on with my body, but if I have too much beef, the beef turns into acid, and that's where I'm getting my gout from. So I got to be more careful, or get more organic meat or grass-fed or simply eat chicken. And, I'm thinking about getting more salmon because I'm looking at salmon and it's like $10, $12, $13 a pound. But when you look at it, a steak's $12, $13, $14 a pound. It's the same price as a steak. But it's much healthier because I don't know how much healthier it is because of the mercury in the salmon, but hopefully you cook it out and you put the lemon on it and it dilutes the mercury maybe. So that's the point of it's the key's getting out of the dollar before it collapses. And they're not going to tell you that they fucked up because they fucked up. The Keynesians running this can't ever say, oh shit, we fucked up. Sorry. They'll all get killed. So they just say nothing. And the government doesn't tell you the dollar's going out. But all the central banks are buying gold and silver. Russia's starting to buy silver. China and India and Saudi Arabia have been buying shitloads of it. So keep that in mind. They won't be able to control the cheap price with the flooding of the derivatives apparently until the beginning or middle of January. So we should see a nice bam soon. I know they have a lot of derivatives, JP Morgan shorting it, but once you get into a physical market, as Mark McGuire said, where there's a buyer and a seller, now it's not. Now it's derivative. But once we get into an eBay where it's a buyer, like if I sell this and somebody gives me 1,000, that's a market, right? I'm the seller, he's the buyer. That's a real market. The government manipulates this, so therefore you don't really have a real market. You don't really know the real physical price. That's where I get I'm thinking fifth dimensionally going, well, I know it's been suppressed and I know I can see what's happening with the dollar, that this is where it should be. So it's an educated guess of 1,000, give or take, and gold 20,000, give or take. I think it's pretty fucking accurate. It wouldn't surprise me. And then I'm including, as people realize the dollar has no value and everybody needs to jump into gold and silver, I'm also anticipating realizing the Titanic sinking and we need to find a lifeboat moment. So when people finally realize the dollar is going out and they can't just release the debt and it has no value, it's been flooded, then that's going to pile into gold and silver. So I'm also anticipating that. So I'm like the guy from Russia with Love, number 3, and I'm anticipating every counter move. Good movie. So yeah, vacations and food and everything. Now I don't know what's going to happen, but we won't have food. I don't buy that. These stores aren't stupid. They will have, Costco and Meijer's and that, Kroger's will always have. This is their business. They will find food if they got to buy it from South Argentina beef, like in Amsterdam. If that's what they got to do, that's what they got to do. Bobby Bo, how does gout feel exactly? It's a swelling of your joints, and it really hurts. And you ice it to get the blood flowing. I go in the pool and try to walk it off. And then I take my, it's too much acid in your joint. Very painful. It's hard to push off. That's the problem. So this gets puffy and you can't walk because this hurts. It goes into the joints. I sometimes get it in my elbows and my knees, and I sometimes get it in my right foot or my left foot. But it's really tough. There's Advil helps a little. Colchicine helps a little. It's the crystals. There's crystals in your joints, in your blood, and they hit the nerves. So you're getting a crystal hitting your nerve, and it really hurts. So usually when it gets really bad, I just lay on the couch. I can't even go swimming. Today I feel good. So I got to be careful if I do get barbecue to be careful on the ribs, because that will, sometimes I can get, if I I used to get a roast for the holidays, and it'd be like a 3-pound roast, English roast or something. And the problem is I'd eat most of it, and then I'd get gout. But if I just have a little bit of it, or if I get hamburgers now, I tend to get, if I get 3 pounds to get the sale price, I make them into 1.5s and 1.5s and cook 1.5, and then just have 1 or 2 hamburgers one day and then skip a day or 2 and then have 2 more hamburgers the next, so it's not, you're not eating the 1.5 pounds in a day or 2. Even steaks, I normally will cut them in half and eat half and half. So your body can take much, but it can't take too much. So again, another thing with the cayenne pepper and the Celtic salt is hoping that will heal me better, because I never had this problem. I'd have it once in a blue moon, and all of a sudden I get it now a lot. And I'm not eating terrible. I think the sugar gives it to you also, but that you need colchicine and an Advil or something, and then ice it. And it's just hard to walk. But then, and it usually happens when you're sleeping. You'll go to sleep fine, and if something happens, you're lying there, right? And all of a sudden, at 4 or 5 in the morning, all of a sudden it just, and you get up and it's gingery, and you can't. It just, everything's stuck, and you can't. It's very hard to walk on it if it's in the wrong joint. Sometimes it's on the side or there, and you can kind of, if I walk on the side of my foot, I'm okay. But then it moves into the joint in your Achilles, and you think you've pulled your Achilles. It's really bad. I have an avocado here that I'm about to eat. Enjoy. That's very healthy for you. You've been on I eat avocados every day for the last 5 years. I ran out the other day, and I ran to the grocery store and got like 8. So usually when I go, I buy 8, 10 of them, and then I leave them out for the first day if they're all like a softball or a hard ball. And as they start to loosen up, and you can kind of squeeze it a little, then I throw them in the fridge to preserve them. Otherwise, they won't last. If you have 10 of them and you leave them out, they will go soft, and they're not as good. So as soon as they get a little bit of play in them, into the fridge, and then I have those, and they usually can last a week or 2 in the fridge. That's what I do. The doctor puts them in the fridge, his last, I guess, 5 or 6 weeks. So he must put them in hard and then takes them out. But it's hard to cut through and eat when they're really, really hard, like a baseball. What you watching later today? Movies, football, videos, or medals, or I wed a few ideas. I'll watch the Army Navy game. I have a bet on it, but I bet it differently than I normally. I bet it under. I didn't bet it under this year, and so we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna go to the club and swim, and then I'm gonna probably go get ribs and chicken to treat myself, and I'll probably go to the restaurant after swim. I'll probably leave shortly for the pool, and then get to the barbecue place by 4-ish, 4:30. Not too crowded, and I can eat, and then watch the Army Navy, and then and really I tend to put on movies, but I'm Pluto is terrible because they'll have every 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, and it's not one commercial, it's like 6 commercials. And after every 5 minutes, I just turn it off. I can't take it. Pluto, Tubi's not as bad. Netflix never has anything. I'd get rid of it if it wasn't for Money Heist. But theirs is, I can watch Money Heist in Russian. So when I meet Daria, we'll watch Money Heist, and at least she can understand it in Russian, and I can see subtitles, so it's kind of cool. But I usually find a movie, or I go to the Pro Bowlers tour from 1975 and watch Mark Roth, or I go to old football games from the 70s and 80s, the Montana, the catch game or something. It's always interesting to watch. And then I'll keep an eye on the pros for tomorrow. If I see any, is Justin Herbert playing? I hope he is. And there's a few bets I'm waiting. I'll add tonight or tomorrow. And again, and I hope I win the Army game. So anyway, that's about what I do. A lot of movies but I'll get on YouTube and I'll watch the gold and I'll watch the Russian to see what's going on. Cause not only I've got my guys I want to watch, Egon and Mark McGuire. And so I don't watch CNBC or any of that crap. They're all Keynesians. What I'm noticing is it's all Keynesians reporting. So they really think they know what they're talking about. And we know they don't. And when I'm at work, you just watch Bloomberg, and it's like these idiots are just sitting there, buy this stock, buy that stock. And I'm just rolling my eyes going, you got to get out of the stock market. And they keep giving stock tips. These are the 10 stocks I want for next year. I don't want to, I'm getting the fuck out of those. And then you'll see the Bitcoin shit. And, when can I go to the gold store, right? And it's getting more. I mean, before it was 17, 1800. Now it's cost me 27.60 roughly to get the gold. The silver is staying for us. So it's a little bit better to buy the silver, Bobby, as you're thinking you'd have been better in gold. You're fine. It's just that the gold's more expensive now. But just buy whatever. Just the key's getting out of the money. So that's what I'll do. I think the Army Navy game's at 3. But I'm hungry. I got to eat and then go to the pool. I just discovered I'm allergic to ibuprofen. Tylenol. Okay, you sure? Strange. Although they put all this shit in it, so it wouldn't surprise me. You got a roast again this year for Thanksgiving? I remember no, I got New York strips for Thanksgiving. But I got 2 of them, but I only made one at a time. I didn't want to get the goat. A turkey's too much. A 10-pound turkey, I'm alone until I am with Daria. So there's no point in making the turkey. I just made chicken breast today. I think I had some chicken breast. I got a pumpkin pie, which I know it's the sugar, but I say you can celebrate because it'll go through your body, 3 or 4 days. That's why I did a fast. So I do a 43-hour fast, takes care of the pumpkin pie. And that's fine. So I don't mind that. And I play with my gold and my silver, and I look at the ball cards. Oh, one thing I found out, I got to show you this about Beanie Babies. All right, so this little guy's name is Seymour, and I bought it way back when beanies were good. And you don't think it's anything. So Alyssa was over, and so she wanted some for her kids. I said, yeah, go ahead. They're not worth anything. Until I looked on eBay, this one's going for like $500. But the key is there on the tush tag. You see how it says PVC? There's either PE or PVC. The PVCs are errors, and they're worth a lot of money. This is 1993 tie PVC pellets. Seymour the Seal. Here's his name on the front of the tush tag. Is Seymour. And it's going for $400 or $500 because of the error. And I looked at mine, and I have 10. I have the bat. I have some others, and they're all worth $400, $500, $600 because of the error that says PVC. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting on a mountain of Beanie Babies. This one here is a nothing one. It's just Aaron, right? Just a beer. But there's an error on it. Again, this one says PE instead of PVC. This is worth $500. I don't have to get it graded. I kept the tag on it. Got the tush tag. This is worth like 500. And I'm thinking like Alyssa that, oh, they're not worth anything. They're they're $5. They never went. But it's like a PSA 10 now that says PVC on them, or in this case, PE. But normally, all the 1995s that say PFCs are now errors, and they're now worth $300, $400, $500. How long that'll last, I don't know, but that's where they are. I gave her the Dragon Magic, the white Dragon. She wanted it. I thought, okay, it's worth $5. It's worth $200 because it's an error probably that says PVC on the tag. Now, how real that is, I don't know. When I went into the sold items, I didn't see too many of them worth a lot of money because I don't know if this is new and they just find this out and now they're trying to sell them or what. But this is in the sell category, not the sold category. I'm seeing all these big values, but I don't know if they're getting them or not. I have to keep up on it. But they're trying to sell them for $500. I would think you're not just fucking around doing an auction for it. So anything that's old, just be careful, and you might have it. So go through your beanies if you still have them. That's why you just don't throw anything out, and you buy things because you like them. But if they turn into big money, I'm never going to throw out my Montana rookie card. I always hated that. You'd move, and your mother would throw out your cards. Well, what's going through your mind? First of all, they're not yours. Secondly, I don't want to throw them out. And you're throwing out, $1 million because you're too stupid to ask questions like, oh yeah, there's a Mickey Mantle. I'm going to throw it out. Yeah, probably shouldn't do that, Mom. Anyway, my final thing with my mom. So she dies since she has this trust, and I get $1,250 after they take 8 months to find me because they're not looking for me. And then the last payment, I thought, oh, well, this will be $5,000-$6,000 because it's going to pay. It was $250. And I was like, talk about like, well, I don't need the money that badly. Just fuck it. I was going to keep it, but it was the attorney. So I took it and I bought some silver with it. But you got to be kidding me. I go, she had a lot of money. She sold her house. I'm sure she had life insurance. Where the fuck did the money go? Well, there was a little bit more of a will where some of the money went to two people, which I'm sure was my brother and my sister, where they got money from probably the life insurance. So the life insurance probably went to my brother and sister. And selling the house must have went to my brother and sister. So that's okay. At the end, we'll win in the end, right? We'll win because they're in flooded money. They're in worthless money that's been flooded. They're not smart enough to be in gold and silver. I guarantee it. So that's what's going on. Anyway, I thought I would conclude that. So my gift to I have two daughters. They will each get $1 when I in my will, I'll give them $1. Now keep in mind, I've already given them $10,000 when they were younger because I was smart enough to save it and say, here, take the money now instead of when I die. And you really don't need it at that point. So when you're young, you need it. So I gave them each 10 grand and, they don't need, and then they get this money. Like, what the fuck do you need this money for? So, because they didn't tell me and didn't share the money with me and didn't ask, maybe I need some of it or whatever. Fine. They'll each get $1 like Eddie Murphy did. We made a bet, $1. And that'll be what the kids get. Daria will get more, obviously. She'll get all the gold and silver and all the fun stuff. And that'll be it. Anyway, I think that's it. So have fun. Go Army, beat Navy. And tomorrow, 4 locks and a lot of plays, a lot of strong plays. I've been red hot in the pros. I was 6 or 7-0 Saturday and 9-0 on Sunday and Monday night. So I go 15-0 Saturday, Sunday, and I have 4-0 on my locks last week. And I've been doing that pretty regularly the last 5-6 weeks. 10-0, a 10-1, a 9-2. Really hammering college, hammering my locks. So it's that's what I say. Once I figure out the problem, then I'm very good at it. So I can, because I take the name off the team and call them an A team or a Z team. So I'm betting against Z teams. I don't know who they are and I don't care. It's just, that's what I had. I locked against Southern Miss twice with Texas State, and I think the other one was South Alabama, and won both of the games. That was the key, was betting, finding the Z, Southern Miss, and betting against them. And with that, I will leave you. No, I won't have roast. For New Year's, I might have ribs, I think. Maybe a steak, maybe ribs, salmon. I think I had salmon for Thanksgiving also. So like Thanksgiving Eve was salmon, Thanksgiving Day, I think I made a steak. www.teaserking.com. I have 4 locks going and a lot of big plays this weekend. And again, I've been red hot, and I feel this time, I feel real good about it. And sometimes I was tired last week fasting. So she asked me, do I feel good? And I couldn't really, I don't feel anything. I'm fasting. Today, I feel really good. So let's start it off with the Army game, and then we got big games tomorrow. So have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Bobby Ball, always a pleasure. Buy your fucking silver and your fucking gold, especially if silver is going to go up, right? If silver is going up beginning of January, you're not going to see 30. It's not going to go from 30 to 100 back to 30. It's going to go 30 to 100 to 500 to 1,000, because then everybody will be buying it. And the only reason the price goes down is the derivatives. And yet Egon doesn't seem to understand it. Mark McGuire, I think, understands this being manipulated, because I told him, I'm telling these people what's going on. This is how stupid they are. They don't understand it's manipulated. And there's nothing you're going to do about it. You can't fuck with the mafia, but unless you've got Russia and China fucking with them, then you can fuck with them, because they got bigger mafias. You're welcome, Bobby Ball. I'll see you tomorrow about 11. And time to go have some chicken and I guess a salad. Sounds good. And I will go, and then I'll go swim, and then I'll go get barbecue or something. All right. I won't eat a lot of chicken and salad, just a little, and then I will get my ribs and chicken. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Go Army, beat Navy. All right. Take care.